are live on Pop Culture Breakdown. Sort of, ladies and gentlemen, sort of. We were just talking amongst ourselves in hushed tones, hushed, somber tones, about what a summer of suck this has been for most of us. And so, you know, this may be our early Halloween edition of Pop Culture Breakdown, the Pop Culture Breakdown of the Living Dead or something. We'll see. I'm hoping that, maybe a few shots of hard liquor will, put a little lead in our pencils and a little twinkle in our eye, a spring in our step as the heat continues to beat down, family issues continue to vex, and idiocy continues to reign across all of pop culture, but particularly at the Walt Disney Company. And we're going to be talking about some of that idiocy here today as we break down the highs and lows, but mostly lows of the week. And I am joined today by our friend, Robert Wright. Hey, Robert, how are you doing?
Hey, doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I thought I was doing bad, but some of these other folks are kind of like, so I may be doing a little bit better than I thought, but I've been drinking, so that always helps. And Gary is drinking now. It's kind of like as unto spinach with Popeye. Hail, Gary Ambrosia. How you doing, buddy?
It's been a shitty week, but I am happy to be here, my friend. I'm really happy to be here. And
I am too.
See you all out there in TV land. Hello and hail.
We are going to have fun tonight, or explode trying, but I think we're going to have fun. I hope everybody's already starting to have fun. The drinks are flowing. It's open bar here at the center of the earth, so everybody indulge. We've got Douglas Nelson, aka Mr. Nailson here. Hey, Douglas, how are you, buddy?
I'm feeling like Disney.
Oh no! Oh
exactly
fuck
like
no!
Disney.
Oh no! That's the
yeah.
worst. Wow.
And
sickly and cheap.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't get cheaper.
Oh.
Yeah.
And up to your ass in drag. That's Disney. Up to your ass in drag, and we're gonna talk about that in a little bit.
The title for tonight's show.
That's right. Pop Culture Breakdown, up to our ass in drag, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, shit on a stick. But I tell you, who's not in drag is our good friend, Mexican Iron Man. Hail to you, Mike. How are you doing?
Hail, my great brother and my amazing overlord Doomcock. Hail, panel. Hail, chat. Hail, mods. Well, you guys are having a rough week. I'm just back from 2 weeks of vacation.
Yay!
Yay!
Lucky.
Me and my 10-year-old Max traversed North Carolina, DC, Virginia, Orlando, where we didn't spend any money at Disneyland, but probably spent $3 or $4 grand at Universal Parks. And I am rejuvenated, and I am ready for some dang it Bob action.
Dang it, Bob. Dang it, Bob. Well, that is great because we've got a lot of things for Bob to be danged about, I'm afraid. Let's go ahead and proceed to the breakdown, shall we? All right, my friends. Issue 1. Let's talk about Rachel Zegler, folks. Rachel Zegler, in case you couldn't guess from the costume, is what passes for Snow White these days, or Snow Tan, however you want to call her. And she's been kind of naughty, frankly. She's been kind of naughty, folks. Let me just say this. I did a video about this today, but I wanted to get the panel's take on this particular story. Apparently, Rachel Zegler won't shut up about how much she hates Snow White, how creepy it is, how her version is going to basically right the wrongs of the original 1937 classic, etc., and so on. And she's been trending on Twitter the last couple of days, not in a good way, along with Snow White, which has also been trending, also not in a good way. And it culminated yesterday or today in an article on the dailymail.co.uk titled Exclusive, Branding Experts Warn Rachel Zegler Backlash Could Ruin Disney's Big Budget Snow White Remake. And they predict executives will be having crisis talks in order to win back fans ahead of the 2024 release. Now, the article states that Rachel Zegler's comments about the upcoming live-action Snow Woke remake could have a huge impact on ticket sales, branding experts have warned. The backlash occurred after several videos of Rachel speaking negatively about the original film in various interviews last year resurfaced online, where she said of her version of the character, she's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. Yeah. So, and she also isn't going to be Snow White, as you can see. She's also not the fairest in the land, the evil stepmother. The queen is the fairest in the land, being, of course, Gal Gadot. Hey, brilliant move, Disney. Go ahead and cast as the jealous stepmother a woman who is 4 or 5 times as beautiful as the alleged fairest in the land here. But let me just put this out here. Speaking to dailymail.com, branding expert Carla Spite said, whilst it's been clear that the original Disney princess films hold old values, Disney has fallen for the trap of going to the opposite extreme to inflict strong and loaded messaging on the viewers, believing that's empowerment. There was a time when Disney actors were media trained and were thoughtful about the impact of their words while sticking to key messaging about the films. But it seems that with this total rewrite of Snow White, picturing her as a boss girl has gone to the heads of their stars. Disney will need to be careful with how they have portrayed Snow White. That ship has sailed. And what they do and don't allow their actors to say about it going forwards. Too late. It's totally fucked. It's really funny that this one guy, PR expert Nick Eady, told the dailymail.com that perhaps Rachel, quote, isn't the best person to promote the film, despite playing the main character. So what has she said exactly? Let's go ahead and talk about what she actually said. Now, these comments, some of these comments, well, they happen at various times, but they're turning up as things on the internet will. And it says, speaking alongside her co-star Gal Gadot at the D23 Expo in September last year, she said that her version of Snow White is not going to be saved by the prince, and said she's not going to be dreaming about true love. Well, what is she dreaming about, folks? She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. But then she goes on in a separate red carpet interview at the same event, folks. She said the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. So we don't do that this time. What the fuck is that? The Prince Charming stalked her? What the fuck are you talking about? All right, we'll get to that in a minute. But she continued. I want to let her speak for herself. We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because we cast a guy in the movie, referring to Andrew Burnap, who plays, I don't know, he used to be Prince Charming. Now he's just some dude named Larry or Al or some shit. I forget. It says, she says this, get this. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. As for what she thought of the original version, she says, I think I watched it once and never picked it up again. I'm being so serious, she says. I watched it once, and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventures. Doesn't sound something like a little kid would like. I was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again. Yeah, we are so delighted that you are playing Snow White. Could it be any more right? If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. I am, of course, lathering on sarcasm with a heavy dowel. Who wants to go ahead and talk about this fucking insanity first? Because, this whole thing about there's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. No, honey, it's not weird. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Maybe if you'd actually watched the movie before blowing your bullshit out your pie hole here, you'd fucking know. He rides across, hears her singing in the opening of the movie, and he goes and sings to her, and then blows her a kiss that is transported up to her innocently with a bird, and then he pisses off. He's got Prince business to do, and we don't see him the rest of the movie until all the shit has happened. Snow White is in her glass coffin in the woods, tended by the dwarves in a form of living death. And it even says in a title card, the prince heard about basically this poor woman that's in a coma in the woods. And he goes to check it out and sees it's her, gives her a kiss, which breaks the spell because that was in the, fine print of the spell, can be broken by true love's first kiss. And that's it, hon. There's no stalking. Weird. Maybe you just don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But who wants to speak up about this? Because this is ridiculous.
Well, what's the line I've heard you say? Oh, yeah. Without respect, we reject. And your star here doesn't respect the story that you're supposed to depict here. So
no.
Anyway, but she's another example of someone desperately trying to pose that as an intellectual and all this sort of thing, and immediately glom on to the idiocy of these discussions. Where they, well, boy, if you really look at, Snow White, you can see that Prince Charming is quite the predator here. I mean, she has no consent, and as he, saves her life. But that's the deal, where she'll jump on that, and that's how much of this is really her own. She'll, she's still playing a part of feminist Snow White. And that's the goal of this production. It says we're going to fix Snow White and that sort of thing. So no doubt that is the intention with the film, and how easily they change the 7 dwarves into the 7 hippies or whatever they're supposed to be, and that sort of thing. And so there's just nothing there, And but of course, you're not supposed to say it so blatantly out loud like that. So she, but she's unaware of this. But she will learn soon.
Yeah. Well, she's apparently, something like 22. But I mean, she's in Hollywood. She should know better than this shit. This is crazy.
It's ridiculous. And, Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs is a classic. And the most important thing about it is that it's been handed down from generation to generation. About a month ago, I saw a couple at church, and their little daughter was dressed as Snow White because it's her favorite Disney princess. And they let her come to church dressed as Snow White. It's timeless. It's a classic. You should respect that. The other thing that I think she did is the original Grimm's fairy tale of Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs, which has a lot of what's in the Disney movie in it. So she's not only disrespecting the original classic from 1937, she's disrespecting the original work from over 200 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, she doesn't care about that. That's before she was born, so it was irrelevant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's how these
200
people think.
200 years ago, and very much of its era.
Yeah, it's so stalkery. I guess that used to be okay when cavemen would hit women on the head with clubs and carry them off to their lair, dodging dinosaurs and stuff.
That's how I found my wife.
Ridiculous. That's how you got her? Really?
Yeah, I mean, it works,
Well,
it's working for tens of thousands of years, My biggest takeaway with this thing is that after she ran her fucking mouth, she went to quote unquote apologize about it, and she said, "Well, I'm really sorry that you guys took it the way you did, but obviously you're too stupid to understand what I was saying. So sorry about that." That was her big apology to everyone, which was fucking hilarious. It's like, boy, you're really doubling down like you're some kind of, like Doug was saying, she's some kind of fucking intellectual. She must know so much that we don't know,
I know.
Some of us have been on this planet, twice as long as she has, but we don't know shit. In the 22 years that this woman's been alive, wow, she must have really picked up all that amazing knowledge about Snow White that we just don't fucking know. That was the funniest thing to me. She's like, "Well, I'm sorry you took it that way," and she made all these general statements that sounded like a bunch of crap that her, fucking agent told her to say or something. But,
Right.
it's really funny. I remember Mark Hamill just saying that he disagreed with the director of Last Jedi. And then fucking Disney berated him. They were up his ass. They're like, "You fucking say anything about this movie, we're gonna fucking break your legs," figuratively speaking. But now, what's the backlash for this clown saying this shit?
Well,
what are they,
I don't know.
What are they doing? What are they saying? What's their response to this?
I think maybe they're just, I don't know. I really have no idea what their response is, but I know what the audience response is going to be.
Right.
These branding experts are saying, "You're fucked," because you've alienated your primary audience, and nobody wants this shit.
Are they allowing her to say this so they can, throw a defamation case at her? I don't know. Like so they can get the money back that they paid her?
Yeah, I was going to say,
really, like,
a hefty paycheck for it.
Why would this fucking shit? Why would this kind of shit be allowed? Why would they allow her to say this garbage? And we haven't heard anything about. They have no opinion. They made no statement on it.
I think it's because Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill is a white male, and so he needs to shut up.
I didn't notice that.
That's exactly right.
I didn't even consider that to be a factor either.
Well, that's what it is, and she's like woke. So she's part of the club.
Yep.
And she's also, so you're going to mansplain to her. You're going to tell her, hey, about profits and about box office. She's on a mission.
Yep.
Snow Woke is supposed to be a leader, not a princess, a leader. It's going to basically, be Joan of Arc or some shit,
Yeah.
I have a dumb question, and maybe, I don't know, I'm just a little clueless here. Maybe I'm a bit on vacation. I'm Mexican. I don't know. Fill in the blank. Why? Now, if she's in a coma from the spell, how is she going to go from that to become the leader that she envisions she's going to be?
Well, I from what I understand, when the old witch pulls an apple out, Snow White does a flying, master of kung fu kick clear across the room, knocks that apple out of her hand, shoves it right up her ass, and then she's in the glass coffin. And then I think she takes a dump on it, and as the 7 magical, welfare recipients cheer. I think that's the plot, but I could be wrong. Harvey was talking about it, so I think Harvey maybe don't doubt my veracity. Well,
Harvey co-write it.
The problem with Harvey is he sees, quantum, multiple alternate universes. So, I mean, that's one way it could go. So the odds of it actually being the way, the kung fu flying, kicking the apple out, shoving it up her ass, probably not. But you never know. It's modern Disney. Folks.
I have never been so ashamed of a Latina actress in Hollywood as I have been upon my return back from vacay, and everything that I happened to catch along the way as the story unfolded the last week and a half or two. And I'm gonna say it. I'm Latino. She's Latina. And I've never been so embarrassed and so ashamed. We covered this movie as one of our favorite movies. I remember that episode as if it were yesterday, because it truly is an amazing movie. Mm-hmm. It is the movie in which it's critical in the history of the Walt Disney Company's historical record. This movie doesn't happen. The Walt Disney Company this movie doesn't happen and isn't successful at the time that it was, then there's no check for Zegler to cash today. So first of all, she's an unappreciative, historically ignorant moron. On top of that, she's embarrassing my community, and I'm going to say it because it is. Number 3 is that she's hypocritical. There's one video where she's talking about she's got a loving relationship with her boyfriend. She gets on the Disney carpet talking about Snow White don't need no man. Which is it, Rachel? Are you being hypocritical between your personal life and your professional life? Where's the lie? Are you lying to your man and you really don't need him because what you really think is what you said on the Disney carpet? Or are you just a hypocritical biatch that you're going to say whatever Disney said? To answer Gary's point, why would they let her do this? Bro, she did this multiple times in different places for Disney. This is a script handed to her by the woke Disney company of Iger. This was by the publicist. She was conditioned by either the people that are putting together this movie or the publicist or her agent that this is what the tune that she needed to sing and get out there and do. Now, I hope this movie tanks. I hope they release it. I don't want to see it on Disney Plus. God, I don't watch anything on Disney Plus. I want to see the public court of opinion serve a judgment on this biatch. And let's be frank, she's insufferable. Let's remember there was also a controversy with this chick dealing with Renner way back when. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
When she called Renner, like basically said he's racist.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
This chick's problematic. And if you know anything about Renner in his personal and professional life, he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of douchebag male actors in Hollywood. Renner is not one of them, frankly. Now, this chick is problematic. Let's also remember that she was the one that complained and griped that she didn't get an invitation for the Oscars. Do you guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
When she didn't get an invitation, Doomcock, she threw a little hissy fit so that she could get an invite to go to the Oscars because she wasn't on the list.
No, I didn't remember that. I don't pay any attention to Oscar stuff at all. I'm so out of it.
But the point, so I mean, God bless you because you should. None of us should actually. We should all follow our overlord and not pay attention. But the point is that this is an insufferable prick. She's a bitch. She's a prick. And you know what? Talking about being on the picket line, acting like she's some kind of leader in this strike. Oh, I'm in a dress for 18 hours. Oh. You know what my family did in the Texas and New Mexico hot sun? My mom picked cotton, all right? Worked a ranch, got up at 5 a.m. to take care of animals, literally chickens and freaking farm animals before going to school, then doing chores and maybe getting to homework and maybe getting to sleep by 10, 11, or 12 o'clock. That's hard work. And you know what? However much money you do get paid, Rachel, I guarantee you the checks that you get from a company like this are more than the average person makes, not just in a month, not just in a year, but in the case of many people, in a lifetime. She needs to shut the hell up, and she needs to go back to wherever she came from. This chick's career is going to be over. She better enjoy her moment in the sun because this is a situation where it's either dogs or cats, and she's going to find herself alone.
Yeah, well, I think that's well said, man. Because this is just obnoxious and just out of the woke playbook. This is just right out of their playbook, denigrating old media, our previous culture, because we are reprehensible. We are this, we are that, and they need to change every single thing that we love. They basically just want to be. Winston Smith in 1984 in the Ministry of Truth, shredding the old movies, shredding the old books, shredding the old attitudes, and all of us with it. Because this is a masterpiece. This is not just a pretty animated film. This is not just kind of a sentimental favorite. This is true art. The original Snow White. I mean, we saw it. I mean, Gary, you were saying you thought I was crazy, like saying that we should, review this. And then when you watched it, you saw how incredible it was. I mean, if I recall correctly, didn't you say that like you finally came around and you said, man, that's
I don't think that's correct because I saw this movie in the theater when I was 8 years old and I thought it was magical when they re-released it. But okay. I get what you're saying. I mean, really it's not really a movie that we would normally review, but I mean, when you dive into it and you watch it, you literally watch every frame, you can see what a miracle this movie is.
Yeah.
And what a great, wonderful, timeless, beautiful tale it is. written by an artist, you know, and now, you know, publicly put on the chopping block for, you know, sacrifice to the woke gods.
Well,
Damn, Mike, that review was really spicy. I'm getting the vapors here, buddy. I'm sweating. Man.
Disney is over 100 years old now, and this was their crown jewel that really launched them into the animated movie business.
Yeah.
I mean, it's special for Walt Disney, and for her to insult not only the original work, the movie, and I think, Doomcock, you mentioned the ride that she mentions in there. She insulted the Disney World, Disneyland ride. That's just uncalled for. And it's entitlement, bratty attitudes.
Yeah.
And it's awful. It's what we're fighting against.
And like Mike's saying, it's dictated by the very company that created the original content. Go figure that one out.
Yeah. I mean, she's telling you what the movie is.
Yeah.
You know, that's what she's doing.
It seems like purposeful sabotage. It really does to me.
I mean,
so
it's the
blatant.
classic living out the typical meme of, you know, how it started, how it's going, you know. And
Exactly.
there you are. That's what
Yes.
this is what this is. But, you know, Doomcock, you know, that scene you described about the Kung Fu scene, I imagine the Disney writers were thinking, oh, man, oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet they are.
Yes.
But unfortunately, I came up with a better one just now. So, you know, basically, you know, Snow White is you know, looking for an army to follow her. We cut to Che Guevara, who is out there picking grapes, and he accidentally like picks this big apple instead, and he's like, This is a weird grape. And then suddenly Snow White says, this is what I was waiting for. This is what I wanted. And she like gets Che Guevara to be the apple bearer. Cause of course, you know, she's above him, you know, so he's got to carry the apple. And you know, he apple jockeys over to the kingdom. And, you know, they go through adventures. Snow White manages accidentally on purpose to get Che Guevara bumped off, but the apple remains, and of course, you know, it gets she enchants it, she poisons it, and everything else, and you know, slips it to the queen. Queen goes into a coma, and then Snow White takes the apple back and becomes Che Guevara, and leads the army of protest against the United Fruit Company and the evil kingdom.
Wow. Now again, they're going, damn, that's brilliant.
Wow.
Damn. But probably what they did was Prince Che Guevara, he gets the apple and eats it and goes into the coma, and then Snow White has to.
Well, no, he's part of the
kiss him.
patriarchy.
Yeah. Well,
The poison
she's
apple
going to
would
fix
be-
him. She's going to change him and fix him.
No. She's a boss babe, and she don't need no man. She ain't gonna fix no man. She's gonna take that apple and give it to the patriarchy prince, the prince of patriarchy, and he's gonna bite on that apple, and she's gonna defeat that patriarchy and take a rightful place in the kingdom where she belongs. She's a boss babe, Doomcock. She don't need no man.
That's right. And at some point in this narrative, we have to have her wind up, you know, in a coma in a glass coffin, and she gets out by kissing herself.
Oh,
Yes.
oh my
Brilliant.
God.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Brilliant.
Yes.
Every pink-haired head just blew right there.
yeah. They just,
Their minds are
they're
like,
just
oh my
ideas
God.
and ideas. How does he do that?
She kisses herself, even though she's in a coma.
Yes.
And you see her like lower lip and upper lip, like, you know, trying to kiss and missing each other, and the tongue lolls out, and she marshals up all of her strength, and then suddenly she's up there and
Brilliant.
becomes Che Guevara.
Genius.
Because, you know, you need to learn how to love yourself. That's the lesson.
And she will love herself. An Axel Braun's sequel to Snow Woke and the
Yeah, well, yeah.
7 Renaissance Fair refugees. That's what they look like. They look like Renaissance Fair refugees,
They
don't they?
do.
Yeah.
Snowflake and the 7 Renaissance Fair.
Right. They
Refugee.
showed up to the Renaissance Fair after the costume store closed, and that's all they, that's.
Yeah, it's like when you get to the Ren Fair and you're like the last in line, and you're like, "Hey, you got any clothes? I don't want to feel awkward." And they're like, "Well, this is all we got to rent here. It's what we got left." Okay, I'll take that.
Either that, or they say, "Well, we can go to the Goodwill across the street." And
Right.
That's what they.
That and they probably took out hi ho because it's probably offensive now.
Oh
Good
yes.
Lord,
Yes.
yeah.
Hello, sex worker. Hello, sex worker. Something like that,
Yeah.
with great respect, I don't know.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Wolf in the chat says, remember Adriana Caselotti was my next door neighbor. Jeffrey Wolf in our chat grew up next door to Snow White, the actual lady who was the voice of Snow White.
Wow.
Cool.
And Jeffrey says, I mean, he's told me that she was just extremely nice to him. And can you imagine living next door to Snow White?
Oh man, have her sing to you every day.
Jeffrey, did you ever ask her to sing to you in the chat? I'm just wondering. I'd like to know. I think I probably asked him, but I don't remember. Maybe he was too young or too polite. But oh my God, to actually have Snow White sing to you would have just been one of the greatest experiences of my life. Anyway,
Yeah,
I
would have
mean,
been incredible.
because she had that incredible voice, just so distinctive.
Yeah.
So she didn't lecture him on his toxic masculinity?
No,
Go figure.
apparently she was really nice to him.
Wow.
That's odd.
She didn't view him as a member of the patriarchy and an enemy. She viewed him as a little boy that was really nice.
How toxic of her.
Yeah.
I know.
She was from a different time,
We'll forgive her,
She,
right?
She never got the truth.
Yep,
The real
absolutely.
lesson that's going to be reinforced here is going to be that she don't need no man. Guys, the lesson that we can learn from Rachel is that if there's a woman in distress, do not do anything to help her, save her. That is a lesson Disney
All
wants
right.
to teach with this version of Snow White. So if you should come upon a damsel in distress in need, Disney is coaching you to do nothing and just leave them there.
That's right. Out of respect.
I'm good with that. I mean, I do that shit every day anyway. Some feminist is literally in the bay out here drowning. Help me! I'm like, sorry, can't do nothing.
Wow.
Got them woke rules.
Incredible. Jeffrey Wolf in the chat says she sang and says she had a real wishing well in her front yard.
Oh wow.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
How cool is that? Wow.
You're very
And
lucky,
in
my
one
friend.
video, she loved Snow White in Disneyland as a ride, and then another video, she said she hates it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Maybe she's kind of a phony. Could that be?
What? Come on. What are the odds?
Well, I tell you, my friends, maybe she's a phony, but here's someone I wish was a phony. Okay. We have to move now to a story about Minnie Mouse. And Mickey there. Apparently, Mickey, he's I don't know,
Mickey,
man.
what happened to you?
His leopard print hat, broad brimmed hat, and fishbowl shoes are off camera, but he put them on after this. Guys, this is something that I wish was not real. But it is. Basically, Mickey Mouse said to Dylan Mulvaney, hold my Bud Light, because now we've got another male in drag attempting to sell stuff. Only this time it's not to Leonard Skinner fans. It's to kids. And
What are you trying to say, man?
Hey, I love Leonard Skinner. I love Leonard Skinner.
Well, I certainly fucking hope so after that comment.
Fuck yes.
Jeez.
Give me 3 steps. Give me 3 steps, mister. Free bird. Damn.
It's gone.
Be a simple kind of man, but, well, this is not a simple kind of man. This is Sean Altman, who this is true. I wish this was not true. But this is true. I did a video about this. Contracted What? Well, I'm not.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Hey, dude, it's not my fault. Look, contracted with Disney Style, I believe, to market a Minnie Mouse clothing to kids. Yeah,
A simple kind of man.
yeah. Well, Leonard Skinner
Yeah,
obviously wrote that song thinking about Sean Altman.
Wrote it
here.
just for Sean.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
God.
you know, he basically in this I believe it's a TikTok, so it's mercifully short. You know, he basically says, hey, you know, I'm looking to dress up like my girl Minnie here, and then he says I look just like her when he put his hair up in buns on, you know, like for ears, and you know, put a red bow. He says, no, I look just like her. Which prompted Harvey. Harvey, what did you say when you heard that? I said, if Sean thinks that he looks just like Minnie Mouse, he shouldn't be a spokesperson for Walt Disney. He should be a spokesperson for Warby Parker, because he needs glasses. He doesn't look like Minnie. I don't think he looks like Minnie. But you know, like I said in my video, I don't judge other people's lifestyles. I don't care about, you know, people in the LGBTQ community, you know, being who they want to be, dressing how they want to dress. But this is clearly marketed to kids. And what little girl thinks I want to dress up like Sean Altman dressing up like Minnie Mouse? Why not just have Minnie Mouse be the spokesman or spokesperson or spoke rat or whatever it is? I mean, this is just insane. This is more of the same kind of shit that Dylan Mulvaney pulled, and I think it's utterly gratuitous. I think it is you know, pandering to you know, get ESG points and you know, score big with, you know, the wokies that are on the Disney board. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking, honestly, but it's extremely fucked up. And I just wanted to go ahead and get everyone's reaction to this, still being respectful, not being you know, too insulting. But I'll tell you, you know, I believe in live and let live, and I just wish that we could get this kind of shit off our kids' phones. And you know, I mean, there's just no real reason to market to kids with
Exactly.
men in drag. It's just inappropriate.
It is.
Now, I'm not even.
absolutely-
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even saying. I think it's going too far, personally, for me, to say, you know, grooming or anything quite that nefarious. Although you may disagree, and that's fine. But I think that's a very serious charge, and I'm not comfortable making it. But at the very least, it's inappropriate. It's very inappropriate. It is an abuse of, you know, the trust that parents have in the Walt Disney Company, because they may not hold with these values. And so you're just imposing, you're slipping these kinds of values in a situation where, you know, parents may be vehemently opposed to it. And that is not right. That is not a brand that you can trust anymore. And I don't understand why Disney is so perplexed and puzzled that there is a lack of trust and regard for the Walt Disney brand now. Anyone have anything to say?
Yeah, if I would last round, let me go. I'd love to go first this round.
Go ahead.
Being the father of a 10-year-old, I'm with you, Doomcock. Anybody can have whatever lifestyle they want, but once you get in and around kids, we're in a whole different universe. We're that is the line. That is the line. And you mentioned this in one of your videos. There was a quote that you said, and I can't recall what, but maybe I guess it was a video about this. But you mentioned something that about how hard it is to have a kid. It is.
Oh yeah.
It is a constant challenge that I have felt since Max got to about 4, 5, or 6, and then through COVID and emerging from COVID, it is a constant struggle to be able to be a good parent when you've got messages coming from media, messages coming from companies that you once trusted. I remember feeling proud when Disney Plus first came out, even though there were some problems. I was proud to subscribe and give Max an ID, a password, and put it on his iPad. I mean, those days are long since gone because I removed his access and nuked the account. I do have some hope that it is now spreading towards the masses. A very interesting thing came, besides the fact that we just spent a week in Universal and spent all our money there. Very interesting thing happened. One of my clients who has a 6-year-old, he and his wife, I had no idea they were in Orlando at the same time that Max and I were, and we hooked up with him. Max and I, he took us out on his boat when we got back on Monday, and we went on the boat. Anyways, they were telling us that they went to Orlando, and I was talking to the mom, who's my client's wife, and I said, I find it really interesting that you guys didn't go to Disney, and they don't know anything about me on YouTube or any of this stuff. They are absolute normies. They're not at all in our sphere or universe at all, and Lord knows they're not in. And I asked just point blank. I said, I'm curious, why didn't you guys go to Disney? I mean, she's 6, and I figured she'd be into Disney princesses. Her mom turned to look dead at me. She says, I'm very actively against Disney. And I was like,
wow.
Why is that? And I'm playing dumb, right?
Yeah.
I'm just playing. And I said, why is that? And she says, that's the last company I want around my kid.
Whoa. Yeah. Yeah.
So guess what? They didn't go of the 3 Universal parks. They didn't go to the water slide park, which Max and I went to. Max and I went to water slides and they went to Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure with their 6-year-old. That's where they went.
Mm-hmm.
And they're total normies. And that reaction just happened to me. What's today? Wednesday? That just happened to me on Monday.
Yeah.
So
no, man, listen.
These are tough times, brother. These are tough times. And all, we've got to be diligent about everything and every message. I mean, let's look at this guy. I mean, I'm sure I don't know what the deal is with his parents, but I just cannot imagine that getting up and saying my job is going to be to dress up like Minnie Mouse, and I'm going to try to convince little kids to buy Minnie Mouse dresses by dressing up as Minnie Mouse, but I'm a dude.
By being an example. What I said in my video was I thank God that I have no kids, especially, these days, but I've always thank God I didn't have kids. My entire life. Yes, that I know of. And I'm pleased for my ignorance. But the thing is that, these days, kids need to have a period of innocence. Kids need, when there's a period of time where kids don't understand anything about sex, about gender, about, all of these things, and to expose them to puzzlements like this, to material like this, it can be confusing and to their detriment, to their developmental detriment, at a time when they are vulnerable, impressionable, and don't understand what the fuck is going on. That is the problem with this kind of shit. Because, again, I mean, if this was marketing exclusively to members of the LGBTQ, community, then it would be perfectly fine. I don't care, but it's not. It's not. It is going to kids, and this is not cool. And this is going to have a massive, massive backlash against Disney. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised. To me, this is worse than Bud Light. This is worse than Bud Light. The reason that I said, marketing to fans of Leonard Skinner, it's because, they're grown-ass men. They're grown-ass men. They know what they are. That's not going to change anyone, or undermine anyone's sense of who they are or their sexuality or anything. So it's disrespectful, but it's not like threatening or undermining. But this is different. This is worse. And I'm surprised that there hasn't been more of a outcry about this. It's very, very strange to me.
Well, the funny thing is that we talk about movies, and movies have ratings: G, PG, PG-13, and R. Why can't you have a filter on that with stuff like this for kids? That way you filter it out. That way, hey, it's probably not appropriate for these kids' ages. And that's what we're talking about. It's the appropriateness of that. I mean, you can believe whatever you want to believe and do whatever you want to do. That's fine. Live and let live. But when it comes to kids, it comes to adolescence, and it comes to a young mind that doesn't know anything and is just now learning about who they are and what they are. I mean, they don't need this.
No, their minds are malleable.
There's a reason for that, Robert, because they're not having any kids of their own. They got to take ours.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. It's just fucked up. It's ridiculous, and it's not going to be effective. So I think maybe the Disney company just wants to score ESG points. Is that it? Like they're marketing to BlackRock and Vanguard? Is that basically the audience for this?
Yeah, they're still on track for that. Yeah, that's the deal. But look on the plus side. At least Sean shaved. Unlike the bearded princess that was in the park.
Exactly.
So baby steps, but you'll get there.
Yeah.
To add on to your simple man analogy, there's a line in the song, "Find a woman, you'll find love." Well, he just took it to a whole nother level.
Well, like Snow White, wakes herself up in the coffin by kissing herself. There you go. There you go. It's fucked up. Tiger Stripes asks, what is ESG? ESG is what is it? Environmental
social governance.
Right. Yeah. In other words, wokeness in policy and funding.
It's a type of credit score.
Yeah, kind of a credit score, like you see in episodes of Black Mirror. Where people get rated, and if your rating goes down low enough, you get put in jail or something. I mean, that's like a horrible, nasty form of enforcing conformity.
It's what every good piece of literature and also television and cinema has warned us about for many, many years.
100%. Yeah. That's 110% correct.
Notice one of the letters is not the letter P for profitability.
Oh, no, fuck that. No, that's capitalism. That's capitalism.
So good job, guys. You're doing great.
Yeah. Oh, good Lord in heaven. Poseidon Migtau says, this isn't China. I don't know. Not yet. But it's kind of going that way. It feels like to me. I mean, this is very fucked up. Thankfully, like I said, I don't have any kids because my God, these days, raising a kid, in this world with, cyber bullying from their own classmates that just, it's just horrible. The technology is just so awful these days that you just have to watch them like hawks. And it's just, I'd get so fucking angry that I would, it would be bad. So I'm just grateful. All right. Anyone have a final comment? And then we're going to go to some super chats. No,
I'm good. Do it, man.
I do think some of the outrage is subdued because I think that there's so many people that already know, and there's not the outrage because a lot of people stopped caring.
Right. I think that's exactly right.
What, you think they've just given up?
Well, they're done with Disney,
and
the brand is already damaged. So this is just another example. Yeah, I know, and they've moved on.
Yeah. Mike, do you think that like that anecdote that you said, I mean, do you feel confident that the normies are finally waking up to this shit?
I really, really do. I got to tell you, DC, I mean, I didn't react visibly when she told me outside because she would have asked me, why are you reacting that way? But inside, I was shaking. When we got on, she told me that when we got on the boat, I was silent for about 10, 15 minutes till my client said, are you all right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I was just reflecting how this multimillionaire couple who is on Hilton Head in this area called Wexford. They got a multi-million-dollar house, a boat dock on the back of their house, literally, the river, on a private river that runs to the ocean. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, my God, it has finally got to literally now are they normies in the sense of like they're millionaires versus someone that makes 30,000 a year, or a family that's struggling? No, economically, but they're from very humble backgrounds themselves. Like, they're not silver spoon people. They work for what they've got and saved a lot of money for the house they currently have. I mean, they're working class, and frankly, Hilton Head real estate's just gone through the roof. That house, they bought it for like 800 grand, and it's just shot up. But the point of the matter is that they are very normie. They're middle class America people from with no, and they're not into media. They're just not into YouTube at all. And for her, I mean, think about this. This is a, she works at a hospital. The husband's an entrepreneur. They've got their only kid together is this 6-year-old daughter. And the mom says, I'm actively anti-Disney. And they went to Orlando. They drove from Hilton Head, South Carolina to Orlando for 4 days. Or 5 days, actually, including the drive, and they didn't go to one Disney park or one Disney experience the whole time they were in Orlando. To me, that is striking, Doomcock.
Yeah,
I think it's encouraging.
I think it's incredibly encouraging. I think it is incredibly encouraging for the future,
because they want to change you.
Right.
Everyone listening out there, they want to change you.
Yeah.
They're saying you don't like it. You need to change, because you're a racist, sexist, istophobes, you're deplorables, you're this, you're that. So you need to change. Disney isn't going to change. But you know what? Fuck Disney, because you've got the power. All of you have got the power. If you have the discipline to close your wallets to these people, shun them, and move on from them. That is
not pay for Disney Plus. We cannot pay to get into any of their movies. We cannot spend a dime on their cruise ships. We cannot spend a dime on their vacation packages. We cannot spend a dime at any of their theme parks, and we cannot buy any of their merchandise. Not Disney, not Star Wars, not Avengers, none.
Damn right. Without respect, we reject, folks. That's the way we win. This is a very, very winnable battle, folks, because to win it, all you have to do is nothing. It's the Seinfeld of battles. All you have to do is nothing. Just don't spend on them. Now, you might need to think a little bit. What does Disney own? How can I avoid putting money into their pockets? But that is the way forward, because otherwise, this is the future. This is the future. Because if they don't have to change, they will not change. So for God's sakes, if you dislike what they're doing, do not support them. Let's get to some super chats. To some of these. Thank you all for your patience, folks. Gunstar 1 gifted 10 Overlord DVD memberships to this channel. A lot of you have already gotten some of these memberships, and if so, thanks to Gunstar 1. Gunstar 1. Thank you, Gunstar 1. 2 gifts of 5 each. God bless you, my friend. Thank you. And we've got 20 new members tonight as a result of the generosity of Gunstar 1 and others like him, which I will call out in a minute. Saul Shymek has been an arch villain of mine for 2 years now. Thank you, Saul. And he says, still here and still giving out recommendations to those that will listen. Tonight's recommendation, Babylon 5, The Road Home. J. Michael Straczynski has not lost it at all. The film is good. Now get out the rum. I have my bottle of old port. I've got some Elijah Craig small batch sitting right here with me, buddy, and I'll have a little bit later. Let's see. Red Shirt Academy and Mortuary with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Red Shirt says, let's do the math on Snow Mocha. Expert Disney marketing and insufferable lead equals unmitigated disaster. I'll bring the popcorn. I can't wait. I mean, honestly, at this point, I want to see this horrible thing. I really, really want to see this horrible thing. I think it will be most illuminating, and I think it's going to be the biggest scandal, the worst blow that Disney has ever had, because it is so fucking woke. It's like a parody. It is something that is so fucking bad that the Babylon Bee nor National Lampoon in its heyday could possibly make fun of it. The thing is its own parody. It is a fucking joke. Dayglan with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Dayglan says, ding dong, the witch is gone. Let's hope so. We'll see, man. We'll see. Eventually it'll happen, but I don't know. I'm not counting my chickens until they're hatched. You know what I mean? Hatched and out the door. Mercenary X21 with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Mercenary. Says, just came off of Midnight's Edge 4K talk. Got to get me that 4K Hackers Steel book. Also, did you see the video I sent you over DMs? Whoa, Mama Brenda was hot. Yes, I did, Mercenary X21. I haven't had a chance to answer yet, but I will, and I thank you for that. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Scott V with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Scott. Says, hail, Lord Doomcock and panel. Your thoughts on Ahsoka? And do you think it's fool's gold? Live long and prosper. Well, I do kind of suspect that it is fool's gold at this point. I can't say for sure, but at this point, I have grave doubts that Dave Filoni is going to pull the trigger on the Veil of the Force and get rid of the damn sequel trilogy. And if they don't get rid of the sequel trilogy, then Star Wars is truly dead. So this is really their last shot, but it ain't looking all that promising to me. Just looking at the trailers and stuff, it looks very gynocentric to me. I think there was one guy in it, and he unfortunately has passed. So I guess that's that for season 2. I don't know.
I would say also be careful of the member berries that they're going to throw at it with Anakin and possibly Luke. I don't know where this is going, and especially if based on the trailers and stuff I'm seeing as Sabine as a Padawan, as a Jedi, that alone just kind of bothers me because her character was never Force sensitive in Rebels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It and this heir to the Empire thing, do you really think it's going to be the story of Luke, Leia, and Han? Nah. They're going to use some analogs from Dave Filoni's playbook. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, my mind is open, but if you're asking me to lay odds, the odds are it's going to be fucked up. Okay. The odds are like 72% in the towards the fucked up end of the spectrum. But we'll see. I'll give it a look. We'll give it a look here. We'll let y'all know what we think. Although I did discover something interesting about Ahsoka that I'm going to put in a video soon, which at least was a glimmer of hope. It was a glimmer of hope. Dayglan with a $2 super chat. Again, Dayglan, thank you. It says, ding dong, the witch is gone. Well, do you know something I don't, Dayglan? Could you elaborate? Are you sitting on like a earth-shattering revelation of happiness? Let me know, man. If that's the case, I'm ready to hear it. Mercenary X21 with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Mercenary. Says, you better have pictures of that vacation, Mike. Proof. Uh-oh. That's what Mercenary X21 is saying. So he wants to see vacation pictures or something. Make sure that you were really there and not, jumping out of, I don't know, windows or something. Benjamin Loken with a $5 super chat. Thank you. Benjamin says, Mexican Iron Man. Did you say Washington, D.C.?
Yes.
What Harvey's kid's name made you want to go there? How's our deep doing?
Well, my kid's grandfather on his mom's side is a war hero. Literally has a memorial from his service in the Vietnam War, and he went to a special event there. So that's where the family met up.
I'll be damned. Did you go by the Smithsonian and did you see the Enterprise?
I did not.
Oh my God, dude.
No, I have been there before, but I didn't take Max on this trip.
Oh my God.
But I have been. But I have been myself, but no, I didn't take Max this trip. We were only there for a day.
Wow. For me, if I went to Washington, D.C., my first destination would not be the Lincoln Memorial, would not be the Capitol, it would not be the Washington Memorial. It would be the Smithsonian to see A, the USS Enterprise, and B, Archie Bunker's chair.
Yeah, it is pretty. Oh, you've never been to the Smith? See, I've been to the Smithsonian many times.
I went as a little kid, and that's the only time I've been.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah, it's amazing.
And they didn't have the Enterprise then.
Right.
So I was screwed, but I've got to go back. I've got to see the Enterprise. I'll be the one that's like kneeling, like there and weeping, like somebody at Mecca. You know that then you'll know. Hey, that guy's lost his mind. Nah, it's just Doomcock. He loves the Enterprise. And then follow me over to find where's Archie Bunker's chair. And also the Fonzie's jacket is in there, I believe, as well. Robert Malone with a $9.99 super chat. Thank you. Robert says, thank all of you for the great information. I used to love Disney and will no longer go. Universal is where my family will be going. And Universal thanks you, Robert. And I think all of us thank you because that is the way to go, sir. That is the way to go. Angry Yeti TV with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Angry Yeti TV says, my electrical woes have been conquered. I can finally use my microwave, air fryer, and washing machine again. Hail and be sure to lock your windows. Okay.
Right.
Thank you, Angry Yeti TV. I'm glad to hear that, man. That kind of sounds like it sucked really bad. Joe Mama with a $10 super chat, and it is his first super chat. Thank you, Joe Mama. We really appreciate you, sir. Hail to you. He says, hail DC and panel. Just want to say thanks to you for giving enough rumors to let me short Disney stock for a tidy sum. Just thought I'd share a bit of the returns. Wow. Keep on keeping on, my lord. Well,
all right.
There you go. Some success there from Joe Mama.
Xanadu changing lives for the better. Changing lives.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, of course, we don't give stock advice, but it was just in general, right? It was just simply, just kind of getting a sense of how fucked up things were at Disney. That's why. Because we don't know really anything about investing here. At least I don't. And we don't give advice. Just letting you guys know. Let me see. Sorry, I got to send an invite out because we've got another guest coming in here. Okie doke, it went. No, it didn't. Wait a minute. What the hell? Talk amongst yourselves for a sec here, folks.
Where's Andy Masterson? Is he here yet? It's about 5 minutes after 6, and he's already 5 minutes late. That's really unprofessional, Andy.
Oh, Andy.
I just got to say, man, a guy who is, so on the ball and, really, really on point with everything that he does. 5 minutes late, boy, yikes. On time would have been early, but
that's all right. Okay, it is sent now. Thank you, Joe Mama. Gunstar 1 with an incredibly generous $50 super chat. God bless you, Gunstar 1. You, sir, are a producer on tonight's Friday Night Frolics. Pop Culture Breakdown. It's not Friday, it's Wednesday.
Yeah, get it
We
right.
still got
man.
2 days left in the week, folks. Sorry about that. Almost slipped that in there. Gunstar 1, you're a producer on the show. And he says, hail, great Lord Doomcock, the panel in the chat. I hope all is well. Still shell-shocked from Cop Rock in Space. He's talking about the musical episode of Suck New Worlds out there. Jesus Christ. Subspace Rhapsody, it's called. Jesus.
Cop Rock in Space.
That's what it is, essentially. Only without the cop and without any rocks at
What a
all.
great
You know what I
joke.
mean? Cojones free in space is what it is. You don't bother looking under Captain Pike's apron. There's nothing there. But Gunstar 1 says, hanging in there, having a shot of Elijah Craig in your honor. Thank you, my friend. I'm going to pour myself a little Elijah Craig and join you here. Meanwhile, Rembrandt gifted 5 Overlord DVD memberships to this channel. Thank you, Rembrandt. Holy smokes, man. Not only a great artist, but also a great guy, even beyond the grave. Thank you, Rembrandt.
Wow.
Delta with a $5 Australian super chat. Thank you. Delta says, what's your expectations that she will be airbrushed to look prettier than Gal Gadot? There isn't enough paint to make that happen.
Yeah.
So I think the odds are 0.0 that she will be airbrushed to look prettier than Godot. I mean, what do you think? CGI is like silly putty? They can't like, just push it on the screen and then, stretch it out and reshape her entire features and everything. No, Delta, it's not going to happen.
They couldn't afford costumes. How are they going to afford that?
Yeah, that is a problem. That is absolutely a problem. It's going to be, look, the fucking movie should be about like 5 minutes long. I said it before. I'll say it again. When the evil queen sees Snow Woke out there, bitching about the patriarchy instead of doing her chores. And she, there's a bird and a squirrel listening to her, the brain damaged of the kingdom. And she walks over to the fucking mirror and says, magic mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And the mirror says, you are, Gal Gadot. That's the end of the movie.
Yep.
There's not even a debate. It's insane. Good God. What the fuck are they thinking?
Oh, God.
Gal Gadot is so fucking beautiful, and she looks like she could be anywhere from 18 to 36. I mean, she's timeless, her beauty.
Yeah.
She could have played Snow White.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They're fucking idiots.
Yeah.
It's insane. Darksaber Force has been a member of mine for 8 months. Thank you, Darksaber Force. He says, imagine how many young unknown actresses grew up with good Disney and would have considered it a great privilege to play the first DP, and they cast her. Yeah. Well, they don't want fans involved. Fans ask questions. Fans care. That's why you never get anybody that knows anything about Star Trek working in the, secret hideout writer's room. Because God forbid that anyone should actually know what the fuck they're talking about. Same thing at Marvel. I've had lots of interviews say they don't want the writers to be looking at the comics that they're adapting because they might get ideas. They might understand how badly the shit that they're doing sucks, right? Unfucking believable.
Doomcock, you don't understand. If they go and read that stuff, how are they going to possibly be able to give us the stories we need that are appropriate for a modern audience?
Right. Look, it wasn't made for you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, then we're not going, asshole.
Deal.
That's it. Fuck them. That's it. Assholes. Victor Doro with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Victor. Says $10 that Zegler's Snow White at some point in the movie just pulls out a smartphone and posts to TikTok about her canceling the evil queen.
Right.
Yeah.
Your
And
chat's
shortly-
on fire tonight.
I know it. And then shortly thereafter, Victor, Elon Musk deeply regrets getting involved with online stuff. It's like, that's it. I'm done. Aaron Pipes with a $20 super chat of great generosity. Thank you, Aaron. Says, I think I saw Mexican Iron Man going into the Houston McLaren dealership. Does that mean he thinks Bob is going to get Disney back on track? Is the stock on the verge of going up? We need to know what the Wizard of Wall Street thinks.
Well, stay tuned for our next segment because we're going to talk about what's happening with the stock. So it's coming up. Hold on.
It is indeed, Aaron Pipes. How well you anticipate us, my dear. Thank you.
Erin is a smarty pants, that girl.
She is, but she's also really smart.
Yeah.
Not just a smarty pants, but a smarty girl as well.
Well,
Mexican Iron Man gifted 5 Overlord DVD memberships to the channel. Thank you, Mike. Holy smokes. God
I'm
bless,
back.
dude. We appreciate that.
love you.
And Miskatonic Madman gifted 5 Overlord DVD memberships to this channel as well. We got 25 new members here tonight, folks. And just in time, because tomorrow at 4:30 Central Time, 5:30 Eastern, I will be having an Arch Villain exclusive live stream. So all you Arch Villains prepare to hang out and chat, and we'll just have a few drinks and kick back and rant about the issues of the day. And Angry Yeti TV with a $2 super chat says, Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the mostest androgynous? I think that's Minnie Mouse over here, or the inappropriate
Sean.
analog thereof, old Sean. Yeah,
Mhm.
Sean, spelled with 2 N's, by the way. Of course, right?
And 2 W's.
GAW Media TV with a $5 super chat. Thank you, GAW Media TV says, hey, hello, great one. Let the Walt Disney Company's flow of entertainment sewage continue to sink farther down into the sewer. Screw Disney. Boy, a lot of people don't like Disney. I wonder why. Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
Larry has been a member of mine at the Dominion level for 38 months. Thank you, Larry. Larry says, I like the Fractured Fairy Tales version of Snow White. Oh, yeah. I used to run those like on Bullwinkle. I can't remember it, but that used to be pretty damn funny. Not nearly as funny as what's coming out of Disney, but yeah. A lot less likely to make you, vomit. Lord Trinan, who's been a Dumentite for 28 months now. Thank you, Lord, says Snow White didn't give consent to be kissed. His kiss brought her back to life. Safe to assume he got consent after the fact. Face palm. That's right. We actually, that would be a funny parody to have, like Snow White's in her coffin and you have, Prince Woking like come up and try to get her to sign an agreement that she consents to be kissed, and otherwise he can't do it. And meanwhile, the dwarves are saying, just kiss her already. It's like, well, but I need a signature because, it just isn't right. Yeah. And then Disney will rip that off. You'll see that in the movie. You'll see that at the conclusion of the movie if you do it. J25 with a $5.55 super chat. Thank you, J25 555. I love it. He says, I hope this helps with the down payment on Xanadu West at the former Marshall KK compound. Hail. She'd hate that, wouldn't she, if I bought her former house?
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear. That would be unfortunate.
We did acquire it.
Yeah, really?
We have it. We got it for a steal, man. So you're going to be real happy.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Major write-off too.
Party at KK's.
Yeah.
Woo!
That's right.
Oh, man.
I was reading, speaking of that house, I heard
Yeah.
that they also own the house that was once owned by B. Arthur.
They used to. That one's going up on the block next.
Yeah.
Oh,
probably.
dear. You mean the Golden Girls house?
Not that one. That one's in Florida, but no, B. Arthur apparently had a pretty nice old mansion that apparently KK owns.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what to say to that. If B. Arthur wasn't already expired, that would do it, I think. That would be it. That'd be, God will get you for that, Arthur. Roadhog 1167 with a $19.99 super chat. Thank you, Roadhog. Says, hail DVD and panel. Today I'm channeling the Snowman. Got a truckload of Coors for our Beaumont neighbors. Just need a Trans Am to run interference. Any volunteers? We can stop for some rabbit chicken tacos on the way.
All right.
Yum, yum.
Woo. Roadhog 1167. Thanks, man.
Eastbound and down.
Eastbound and down, baby.
8 wheels rolling. We're going to do what they say can't be done. Damn right. Let's just do it. Let's just do it on the road.
But let's do it with meth instead of beer.
Wait, what? No.
Yeah.
Sorry, then let's just stick to beer, I mean.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk about it after the show. We'll talk about it after the show. GAW Media TV with a $5 super chat. Thank you, GAW Media TV says, hey, hello, great one, Doomcock. I am very embarrassed to say that Rachel Zegler is from my home state of New Jersey.
No.
Born in Hackensack, New Jersey. I am sorry, brother. I am sorry. That really, really
So
sucks.
who said that? Who sent you that super chat?
That was from GAW Media TV.
Wow, Media TV could have saved us all. Good job.
Now I don't feel so bad for Miss Tessmacher's mother.
Yeah, I was about to say, Miss Tessmacher's mother lives there, too.
North, Miss Tessmacher. North. All right. Well, let's go ahead And we're gonna move on. I don't know where Andy is. Where'd he go?
I'll call that deadbeat right now.
He's probably just entangled in the limbs of some quote student, some MILF that he's teaching the monkey fist path to. But I don't want to talk about it. So let's go ahead and welcome a guest in the spotlight here. This is a gentleman that I met during the Star Wars trial that Chris Gore was running. And we hit it off, and I thought, well, let's get him on the show. It seems like a kind of a cool cat. Here we go. Jesse Blaze Snyder, who says the coolest geek alive. Well, that's a quite a claim. Hey, Jesse, how you doing, man?
How you doing, brother? I am so happy to be here. You have no idea for how long I've admired your castle from afar.
Well, thank you, sir. You seem to have the gift of gab, and I thought you'd probably fit in pretty good over here. I just wanted to bring you on and introduce you to the gang and introduce you to the audience. Now, we met over at the Star Wars trial, with Chris Gore and everything, a trial that we won almost exclusively due to my eloquence at the close to the 0 hour, I would imagine.
Yes, I think the C-3PO said it best. New plan, Judge. Let the Doomcock win.
Yes, that was a good one. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, man.
Well, nowadays I am the host of a very growing geek culture podcast called Coolest Geek Alive, which basically just dissects from a writing standpoint how to adapt geek culture myths. These things have a fan base, and if you don't do it with love, everything is just a waste of our time and our energy and all the billions of dollars they could be making. And I started out as a comic book writer for 25 years. I've been working for Marvel and DC and Disney Pixar and the Muppets, and pitching every licensed comic under the sun. I've worked for every major company out there. And I got so fed up doing that now I'm my own publisher, and I'm actually running my first Kickstarter for a book called King of Kings, which is pretty funny. You probably guys would like it. It's like a send up to life of Brian. It's the giant foot of God coming down to squish everybody and giving everybody their just desserts for all of this religious dogma that's been constraining our reality for so long. So, I'm a guy who plays in the geek culture. I've studied this medium my entire life because I wanted to be the best at my job. I wanted to know what was going on in the comics better than anybody else so that I was always the right man for the job. And the industry, it kind of chews people like me up and spits them out. That's why I call my company the Killer Rabbits Company. I think all the creative people are fuzzy bunnies, and we either learn how to be the Terminator or we go, all right, I give up on this, because once they know that you want to do the job, you want to make comics, oh man, do they make you bleed to do it.
Yeah. Well, I got to say that Comicsgate is a real thing, and they're pretty much right. And the American comic book industry is in the toilet. I grew up reading comics. I'm a huge comic fan of Silver Age Marvel and DC stuff. Clear through probably around late 90s. Then I started getting fed up with all the deluxe covers and all the special editions and the crossovers and all that shit, long before it actually got woke, which was the death blow for the thing. But I always wanted to do comics, and I don't anymore because it's just a complete foobar waste of fucking time.
There's plenty of that. And what I was going to say is, I found out recently that something like 20% of the actual books being printed are actually read. And as a comic book writer, that is just such like, just destroy me. But it's the best medium there is. It's the one medium where you can build up a story, and then the human having the experience has to turn the page to surprise themselves with the result. And the result can be delivered immediately because a picture's worth 1,000 words. And you can't do that in a novel, and you can't do that in novels because the people aren't in control of the pictures passion in front of their screen. But when you're reading a comic, it is. And I really believe that that's the difference that makes comics such a wonderful medium. And I don't want to see it fall by the wayside and become just this stupid relic of collectors. I really believe the medium has a lot to offer, the same way the toy industry has a lot to offer. Sculpture, we're living in a modern day renaissance. We have been for decades, and nobody has noticed the wonderful work of the James Gromans and the Eric Treadaways from Four Horsemen Studios, and some of these people who are bringing to life things that we've never seen before on this planet, just from their brains.
Yep. Well, it's pure creativity. Anything that can be drawn can be presented regardless of budget. It all costs the same amount of ink and paper. One question before we move on to the subject of tonight's symposium. In King of Kings, when God's foot comes down and stomps, is God's toenails painted?
No, but I eventually.
All right, that's all I needed to hear. That's all I
by the
needed.
end of the
So
book,
I'm sold.
By the end of the book, he's shooting lasers out of his penis. So I just like that's.
Oh.
I have to get to the end of it.
Okay, well, at least that's a little different than what Disney's doing. So sounds good to me. Welcome to the show, Jesse. Welcome.
Thank
it's
you
good
very
to see you.
much for having me. Thank you guys for having me on. Let me join you here. You always have such a wonderful group of panelists.
Yeah, well, you're one of them tonight, my friend. And Andy Masterson has joined us. Hey, Andy, how you doing, buddy?
Hi guys, how are you?
Well, we're doing all right. We're having a good time here, and we're about to talk about a little bit more Disney stuff. So I'm having to juggle multiple computers here, but I think, Mike, what we want to do is talk about this lawsuit, and this lawsuit is fascinating. This is an article from Forbes, ladies and gentlemen, called "Movie Financier Sues Disney for Allegedly Using Accounting Tricks to Deprive Hundreds of Millions in Profit." Ouch. As if Disney didn't have enough shit to deal with. It says TSG Entertainment, a film company that co-financed blockbusters, including Deadpool and the latest Avatar, sued Disney and its 20th Century Fox film studio Tuesday, accusing the company of using accounting tricks to deprive it of hundreds of millions of dollars 2 years after actress Scarlett Johansson sued the company for similar breach of contract claims. TSG, which said it invested more than $3.3 billion into over 140 films, Jesus, alleged in a lawsuit filed in Los Angeles State Court, the film studio underpaid the company by more than $40 million as part of a scheme involving, quote, a number of underhanded Hollywood accounting tricks, end quote, according to an independent audit. And the company says it could be owed hundreds of millions. Forbes has reached out to Disney for comment, but apparently there is no comment in this article thus far. The complaint claimed Disney tried to use nearly every trick to shortchange TSG, which had agreed to co-finance production and marketing costs while the money Disney paid TSG decreased dramatically, prompting the company to request the audit of its financial records. Mike, is there fire beneath this smoke? Is this a valid lawsuit? What do you think?
Yeah, this absolutely is a valid lawsuit, and there's a few elements that I'll go into. First of all, shout out to Jesse. I just want to say that as a mod from Film Threat, it was you that popped onto one of the streams that got the Star Trek vote going for the next court case that we're going to do. So Doomcock, Film Threat, the next court case we're doing over there, I'm one of the original mods for Chris Gore. The next thing we're doing is Star Trek, and it's because Jesse came into the chat live and blew it up, and he changed the whole vote. So
outstanding.
So
Star Trek is the
really
thing that makes me
that was
more
you,
angry
Jesse.
than
That was
anything.
you.
I can be blamed. Dude, like the reason why I fell in love with Doomcock in the first place is because I am an old school Star Trek fan. I used to fall asleep watching The Honeymooners and the original Star Trek. And then when DVDs really, got prevalent, I started going through the Next Generation and Deep Space Nine and Voyager all the way to Enterprise. I love Star Trek. It's one of my deepest geek loves. And when they came out of the gate with their Black Ops Star Trek show, I have never been more upset in my entire life about a freaking tone-deaf choice being made. And for that thing to be existing in the world that I live in literally makes my fucking skin crawl.
Well, that's the reason I started my whole fucking channel.
I know. That's why I love
that. Goddamn! By the 4th episode of Discovery, I was like, "Am I losing my fucking mind here?" Because everybody is saying that this is great shit, and well, they're half right.
Yeah,
it's shit. But anyway,
right,
go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
Derail us. So I actually read the lawsuit. I pulled the lawsuit and read it. And what's fascinating to me about TSG is that they actually in the lawsuit use the term Hollywood accounting, and they define this. And I'm going to read from the lawsuit. It says that it's the opaque and creative methods frequently employed by major television and film studios to cheat those who share in the profits of a television series or film out of their full contracted for shares. So that's the definition that they put in the lawsuit going forward. Now, who is TSG? Because I know this is a company that you guys haven't heard about.
Gallery.
TSG has been around. They essentially, back in December of 2012, they executed an RPA agreement with Fox. An RPA is called a Revenue Participation Agreement. And the terms of this agreement governed the financial relationship between Fox and between TSG. Now, 3.3 billion, 140 films is a lot. And now this agreement was amended a few times. I think it was like 8 or 9 times because as time went by, the financial relationship continued. There's new projects. There's more movies out there. And if you think about it, $3.3 billion over the last 10 years, that is a ton of money. That's a lot of cash flow for Disney. They're mad because of several things. They're mad because there's questions about the accounting. They're mad because their profits and their payouts have gone down. They're very mad because they've asked to be paid out of deals that they're currently in, where they're called tranches, where each tranche or each grouping has, say, 4 or 5 or 6 pictures in it, and they want to cash out of those tranches because if they're not going to be released for theatrical or the projects aren't going to be developed so that they can get a pop at the box office, which is what they're interested in. They're interested in box office returns. They're not interested in financing something that loses money, goes nowhere, and ends up on Disney Plus. That's not what these guys are about at TSG Entertainment. And what really has got them really pissed is that they send in an independent accounting group in, and this happens a lot. Like the years after the fact, they'll send in the independent auditors, and these auditors sampled 3 of the 140 deals that they had their money into. 3 of them. And the reason that you do 3 minimum in an audit sampling when you go in and do an internal audit, an initial audit, is you want to do this random sampling. You know, you do one picture, maybe there's some things that are questioned. You can argue it's errors. You can argue that it's omissions. You can argue maybe there's some questions, but it was a mistake. You audit 2 pictures. You're like, okay, well, you know, maybe there's something. You audit 3, just 3 random out of 140. Well, now you've got statistical probability. So, Doomcock, you asked the question, is there fire below their smoke? Yeah. And what they said is that in their initial, if you read the lawsuit, it talks about that in their initial group of 3 random pictures that they audited from Fox, Disney subsidiary, they found just in that audit over $40 million worth of revenue that should be going their way. Now, they're extrapolating and saying, look, if we go in and look at all 140 of these things, I mean, let's just say minimum. I mean, if this happens even 2, 3, 4, 5 more times, 6, 7, 8 more times, we're going to be at 200 million. We're going to be at 300 million. Could be even be more. Now, imagine a world, Doomcock, where Disney might, through Fox, might have actually have been hiding profits since its acquisition of Fox. Can you believe that?
Yes.
Good, because you
don't
should.
have a pot to piss in.
Good, because you should believe it, because independent auditors were called in and found it. So it's already been proven. Now, by filing this lawsuit, they're going to go into discovery. I would highly doubt that this thing ends up as a matter of public record. If it does end up in a public record, where they actually start releasing discovery of this thing, like in a public court, and it becomes a matter of the public record, well, now Disney has all kinds of other problems, because then you have a disclosure that there's been basically accounting malfeasance that's occurred within the Disney company, which is, by the way, a publicly traded company.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, and Mike, just to add on to that, if it comes to that, does the Securities Exchange Commission get involved at that point?
Well, if you've got basically a court case where they're found that they've been doing bad accounting in order to cheat out a financier of money, that's absolutely an SEC disclosure item.
Yeah. Also, one other question. They mentioned about putting stuff on Disney Plus early.
Yes.
Doesn't that reduce the profits and the money that they'd have to send to this?
Absolutely. One of the things that they talk about in the lawsuit is rampant self-dealing. Rampant self-dealing is where they're essentially adding expenses to a project in order to minimize the profits of the stakeholders, whether they're the creators or whether they're the financiers, to minimize those. So they add expenses, or what they do is they say, well, we're just going to put this over here on Disney Plus, or we're going to move it over here or whatever, and we're not going to give it a box office release, thus eliminating the potential for additional revenues. With more revenues comes more gross profit. And why is the gross profit important? Is because the definition of how these guys get paid out is in that RPA. And it's basically, you have what is a defined gross receipt, and that defined gross receipt, the DGR, is what drives the money that the financiers are able to get back out of their projects. So yeah, Disney has been caught in an independent audit, red-handed, cheating. It's a financial partner that has provided over $3.3 billion of financing to its subsidiary Fox since 2013. I think this is a big deal.
And when you say that they are adding expenses on in order to deprive investors of profit sharing, isn't it? I mean, I'm asking this because I don't know, but wouldn't these companies, like, let's say Star Trek, for example, let's say that, if Star Trek was trying to pull this kind of shit, what they would do is pay themselves, essentially, like between subsidiaries. Like, for example, Paramount has to license Star Trek content from CBS, and that they're basically paying themselves, but it gets counted as an expense to further whittle down the profit participation.
That is exactly it. And I'm going to read from the lawsuit the point that you meant. This is from the lawsuit. For example, the auditors discovered that Fox failed to credit TSG with revenue that Fox's own business record showed should have been included in the receipts, and charged TSG tens of millions of dollars of distribution fees that the revenue agreement does not permit, and Fox deducted from TSG's defined gross receipts to the tune of it says additional tens of millions of dollars of purported distribution expenses, which essentially is self-dealing. Basically, it would be like this, Doomcock. It would be like charging a fee from one pocket over to the other pocket that you have a partner with in. Right. You're just moving over so that there's less cash in that pocket for your revenue partner and your financier to enjoy.
So in other words, like Disney could basically say, okay, we would owe you this money on Avatar. If only we hadn't had to pay Disney Parks a amount of money to develop the park ride for Avatar. I mean, it's all the same fucking thing. It's all the Disney Corporation, but it's different divisions, and they're actually counting that as expenses.
Yeah,
something like that.
That's exactly the type of thing that's happening.
Mike, isn't it? If the other side that you paid, say that in Doomcock's example, the Disney Parks reports an enormous profit because of that payout from the other side of Disney, that's also where they get in trouble as well, right?
Yeah, here's the thing I think that also didn't spurred and may have pissed people off is that if we go back to the earnings call last week, sorry I wasn't here Doomcock last Wednesday, but I just couldn't swing it with the
I understand.
I apologize. But if we take one of the things that Bob did on that call is he was talking about one of the successes of Disney was the Avatar movie. One of the complaints of these guys is that they didn't get their cash out of Fox and Disney so that they could participate in that release and make money off of that. And so, here I think the situation is like, well, wait a minute, if there's all this money lying around, then where the heck is our cut? And here's the thing, I think with actors being frozen and writers being frozen and no deals happening, you're going to get more and more people, whether in the entertainment industry, particularly financial partners and others, they're going to be looking in these couches at Disney and other places and saying, hey, where the heck is what we should have gotten for whatever you did get? Where is it? Where is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, go
I
ahead.
would have to. Yeah, I was thinking the whole time that this lawsuit is the first snowball in the oncoming avalanche. I mean, it was something like this. This is probably much bigger than we even realize. You know. Yeah, I think they're doomed. You know, I don't see a way out.
Yeah, I had a very good friend of mine who's a film financer, Stacy Toy, and she's just always like pushing for proper business practices in Hollywood because she's seen the belly of the beast and how terrible things are. And she started listing these huge movies, and I like lost track. I'm like, what are all these huge movies? It was like Matrix and like big franchises. And she says those are the movies that the studio claims still aren't profitable.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? They're doing this all the time. This is normal practice. I think the only reason we're even hearing about it is because it's a slow news day because everybody's on strike.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's absolutely correct. Forbes is like, well, what are we going to do? Hey, let's go ahead and talk about this Disney shit. I mean, this could really bite them in the ass, couldn't it, Mike? I mean, they don't have 3.3 billion. And I mean, this is going to cost them. A lawsuit's going to cost them.
Well, yeah, they're going to have to settle, and they're absolutely going to have to settle something in a significant way for sure. I mean, there's no way they're going to let this go to court or let discovery happen. This is going to have to be settled. But the thing is that by filing this lawsuit, they're announcing that this independent auditors found financial malfeasance. If I'm any other financier that's done business with Lucasfilm, I've done business with Disney. Right. I've done business with Pixar. I've done business with Fox. I've done business with Marvel. If I were anyone in the financials community, I would absolutely be saying, hey, you know, these guys called for an audit on their RPA, the revenue agreement. These guys called for an RPA, and they found malfeasance. So, I mean, at a minimum, anyone that's done anything post-Fox acquisition, I mean, I would say this is an alarm bells. If I were an attorney, in the financial side, or one of Jesse's friends that's in the financial side of this stuff, alarm bells would be going off for me right now.
They even know what to look for now.
Yep.
It really is like when it rains, it pours. To me, a few months ago, I started to go, lamb to slaughter. And by that, I mean, it seems that the temperature of the room has changed, and the powers that be no longer think that the Walt Disney Company as a brand necessarily need exist in its current form. And they're definitely going to be fighting for their lives in a lot of ways. I'm just hoping the Muppets get sold to somebody with reasonable taste so I can go get myself a job.
Mike, you and I both know that this kind of thing has happened quite often before with many studios in different situations. This is just the first time it's actually been heavily publicized.
But what if this company is not in the mood to settle? And why should they? If they know that Disney has to settle,
the timing is definitely
stick to their guns and say, "Hey, well, we'll settle if you."
If I were on the legal and accounting team for these guys for TSG, call me. No, but if I were, what I would do is I would say that I would ask for an expansive audit, a very expansive audit. What I would do is I would increase the audit sample from 3 to 30 minimum. And because any dollar invested in an audit is going to find 5 to 15 or 20 times the dollars that they're going to get. And that's just going to increase the settlement amount. And so the point of the matter is that what I would do is I would go back and I say I want to audit the RPA from day one, and I would go all the way forward, and I would do a blow-up audit, and I would bury them in paperwork, and I would blow the number up so that it's 3, 4, 5, 600, 700, 800, 900 million.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be. They did 3 and found 40. What are they going to do if they do 30? 10 times that. That's 400 million.
A lot.
And then what else comes out,
And that's just the Fox business unit with one financier.
Right.
Yeah.
Think of all the financiers that are out there, dude.
Yeah.
And all the monies for all of the different entities, the Foxes, the Lucasfilm, the Pixars, the Disney, yada, 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 yada.
It's blood in the water. I mean, even if they can set, yeah, obviously they need to settle as soon as possible, but I think it's too late. Because I mean, if you're the law firm for these other financiers and you're not paying attention to that, you need to be fired. Because I mean, it's blood in the water.
I'm kind of uncomfortable with the direction of this conversation. Can we change it? I don't know, Mickey. Why are you nervous? I don't know. Just stressing me out. Should Mickey be stressed, guys?
Mickey, I would highly recommend that you contact your legal counsel. And
Oh.
Mickey, clearly you do not know the difference between a balance sheet and a bed sheet.
Fucking rat! I got a brain the size of a walnut. What do you want from me?
Hey, Mickey, tell Minnie there's always OnlyFans.
Let me tell you something. We're already exploring that venue for revenue. That guy, Sean Alpin. Yeah. It sounds like, well, shit. It sounds like Disney's, taking a chapter from I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, and old Mickey has turned Minnie out, turned Minnie out on the street. That's basically what I'm thinking.
So there's still options.
Oh, you mean like bonus hole? No, I don't mean that. He means legal, right, Douglas?
Sure.
Well, maybe Disney's going to make the sequel to Night Shift.
Kind of doubt that, having just rewatched it.
I gotta say, Disney is in a world of shit. And I mean, is there any reason why these companies would not do this? I mean, Hollywood accounting has been a thing forever. And it's just kind of like, roll the eyes and say, what are you going to do? Well, has that changed? I mean,
the thing about this kind of money, guys, people like TSG, they're not funded by BlackRock and others. It's their cash and their partners by and large. So they are all about the numbers and cents. They're not going to say, oh, well, you know what? You had a good ESG score, so we'll let you off the hook for that $50 million. They don't give a flying frack. They're all about numbers and dollars and cents.
So this could really, what is your prediction? If you had to guess, do you think that this will be a cascade that will bring other companies knocking on the door, looking to audit and do settlements, or is this a one-off?
I would say yes. Here's what I would say. This is what I'm going to say. I've thought a bit about this the last few hours, like as I've been doing other stuff since I read the lawsuit this morning. If the Hollywood machine, the industry, was in motion and money was flowing, then my answer would be this is just going to be swept under the rug and it's going to go away. Why? Because if I'm a financier and I want to get my capital moving, I might forgive the sins of the past. You see how I brought in the King of Kings thing, sins of the past?
Yes.
All right. I might forgive some of the sins of the financial past with Disney and whatnot for the future fruits.
Right.
Future cash fruits that might be available on the next project. Be like, yeah, we messed up with that 40 million. You know what? We'll settle for 20 million, but let's make sure we got things going forward and let's get But the train has stopped at the station. The financial train has stopped. Cuts are in motion. Iger just said over $2 billion of cuts in just content. Galactic Star Cruiser closed. That's not a movie, but the point is cut. Nothing's happening. Because nothing's happening, that little carrot of that future fruit that I believe would otherwise make financial companies like TSG chill out and wink, wink, kind of forget the past for the future. No. So the longer the strike runs, the higher the probability that companies like TSG are going to want to know, where's my money? Where's my money? Where's my money?
Mm-hmm.
because there's no new promise of new budgets happening that are going to placate my financial thirst going forward when I was robbed out of my back pocket yesterday. We're not going to talk about the future. I need to get back that cash that was that should have been in my wallet already, especially number one, because there's no new cash flow and no new deals. And number two, TSG says in the lawsuit that they tried cashing out of the money that Disney and Fox are holding, and they're not budging. So they're like, well, we got to sell.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
yeah, I would normally tell you, no, Doomcock, that this is just going to get rushed. If I were TSG, I would be calling all my other, because all these guys know each other, and all the financiers that do movies, they all know each other because they're competing for first look on projects. And Jesse understands this if he's got a friend that does this. They all know each other. And so if I were one of them, I would be getting on the horn. If I were at TSG on the financial legal team, accounting team, I would be getting on the horn with other people in the industry, and I'd say, send your auditors in there, let's go, and raise that thermometer up. And I think that's what's going to happen this time.
In lean times, things change.
Yeah,
is what you're saying, and it's kind of like if, for example, let's say Gary and I were stuck in a rowboat. After 2 weeks, I might stop seeing Gary and start seeing a big hamburger or pork chop sitting there. You know what I mean?
Or Gal Gadot.
No, I would never. I would never be that desperate. No disrespect. But talking about desperation, see, this is a great segue. Let's go ahead and look at a picture of desperation. This is grabbed earlier today. It's Disney stock. It got up to $92 a share back when Iger brought in other people to go ahead and they were announcing all these things, and stock was kind of lurching up there a little bit. Well, not so much. It went down to $86.26 a share at 12:35 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It rose a tiny bit, but it's still under $87. I think it was closed at 86 and 80 something, Mike.
Wow,
Yeah,
that looks like before the Viagra chart.
That's right. Sadly, Disney did not sustain an erection for longer than 4 hours. Unfortunately, dang it, Bob. What do you think about this stock motion, Mike? Because I know you tweeted it or X'd at or whatever the fuck they call it these days. Bob Iger, what do you think? What does this look like to you?
Well, I thought it was interesting because when the morning of the earnings call, they made that announcement about the deal with ESPN booking. Plus, they're going to do ESPN gambling and betting. You heard about that, right? So, did you hear about that?
No.
Okay, so in the morning before Iger got up, Disney announced that it's now getting into the sports betting business.
Oh God.
True.
Oh, that's pathetic.
That's true. And so
what's next? Phone psychics?
I don't know, but they did. And so I'm not sure why, but the stock started creeping up. It was like in 90, 91. It started creeping up. And then afterwards, it kept going after the Bob Iger call, which I found very uneventful and very just frustrating beyond belief. And just told me that Wall Street financial analysts are a bunch of morons that are giving Iger too much rope. And then all of a sudden, reality has clicked in. And let's just say this. I think that the news of this article, which started breaking yesterday and then rolled over to today, I think that's not helping the stock price. And at some point, accountability has to happen. And I'll tell you this much: if that homeboy Bob Iger doesn't declare and issue a dividend by the end of the year, then we're game on.
Dividend? What's that?
Yeah, well, we haven't seen one of those in years. It's supposedly this magical, mystical thing that used to exist in Disney. Then I don't know. No one's seen one for a while. It's like ancient aliens. It's no one's seen one, but we've heard of it. It exists.
He could probably make a lot of money in that sports betting, though, especially like on the women's sports. Like Vote for those new mysterious players.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Bet on the gal with the beard. You'll make a fortune.
That's exactly correct. This is bad, folks. For Disney. I mean, look, their 52-week low was $84.07, and they're just like $2 away from that, $2.50, something like that.
Yep.
They're scraping the bottom of the barrel. What do you think they have investors that pump in money to try and keep it above that, or?
I absolutely think that. I speculated as much. Nothing that we say on this show is designed to give financial advice. Do not hold Doomcock or Xanadu or any related channel or any,
No, because I don't know what I'm talking about. So this is not financial advice. I'm just asking questions. I know nothing about the stock market.
So I have theorized for a long time. I've theorized for months because I watch what happens, and it seems as soon as it gets cracking to 84.99. Something happens and pops it back up. Something pops it back up. Now, interestingly enough, there was an SEC disclosure that said that Nielsen Peltz has increased his shareholder load by another 500,000 shares in the last 3 months.
Ooh.
So some of it is him. I mean, it's not. I mean, 500,000 times. I mean, what is that? 500,000 times what? $80-$90 a share. I mean, it's not a ton of money in terms of all the stock outload, but it's not insignificant either. And so maybe he thinks that the floor isn't too far low. But if they miss, let's keep this in mind, Doomcock. This earnings call was about the previous quarter. We haven't had the earnings call yet that deals with the reported park attendance. Mm-hmm. Certainly none of the movie failures that we've seen in the last 3 months that we reported on your channel on this show. No Indiana Jones. This was not a financial report on anything that's happened in the last 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
That is to come. That's coming in November.
Don't worry, the Marvels will save them.
When that thing came on the other day on my TV, me and my kids were watching 20 trailers jam-packed. They literally yelled boo as soon as it came on, and I filmed a video of the aftermath of them booing. I was like, I swear I did not tell them to do this. My daughter, my oldest daughter, who's 14, and then my younger son, who's 7, and the two of them were just like,
I think that's a bad signal for the Marvels.
Not a good sign.
But don't worry, Snowflake and the 7 welfare recipients will make up for that, don't you think?
Oh yeah, I mean that. I mean, with an ambassador like Rachel Zegler, I mean,
oh man,
anyone who can dethrone Brie Larson as the queen of the Leona Helmsley of Hollywood. I mean, and this chick's done it in what, 3 weeks? Yeah, that's impressive. I mean, at least it took Brie a little bit of time to piss everybody off. This chick's coming in and she's like telling everybody, "Oh, it's so hard to be me. I'm young, beautiful, rich, and have Hollywood fame. Don't you feel bad for me because I have to play this outdated character?" No, you don't, honey. You can go toss some burgers or something.
Yeah. Like into every life, a little rain must fall, and why are you falling on ours? That's what I don't understand.
Let's hope Snow White is in the end credit scene for the Marvels.
And her 7.
This next quarter, I'm not giving advice, but I watch if they don't try and blame stuff on the strike.
Of course.
Oh yeah, sure, of course.
But I like Snow White in it. They got to save it somehow. Somebody is in a meeting somewhere at Disney right now going, all right, guys, I got it. Star Wars meets Marvel meets Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. We're going to save this thing.
Yeah.
No, Jesse. It's going to go like this. It's going to go like this. Diverse Marvel meets diverse Star Wars, and that will save the day.
Yeah. Diverse Star Wars is already here.
And then adding dinosaurs, and it's going to be fucking great.
Yeah.
Fucking great.
There's no fucking way. They have nothing in the pipeline that's going to be any good at all. Marvels is going to bomb. Snow Woke is going to do more than bomb. We're going to have to come up with a new word for what Snow Woke does, because that thing is so fucking bad that you cannot even do a parody of it because it is its own parody. It's just fucked. It's just
They do
fucked.
have Deadpool though. Deadpool and the Avatar movies.
Well, the Avatar movies, yeah, maybe. The Deadpool 3, yeah, maybe. But again, those are really not those are, well, I mean, they're Disney because they're owned by Disney, but they're really
Oh, it's hard
Fox.
for them to take credit for them. It's not Bob Iger's fault if those movies are successful.
Does
Yeah,
anybody-
exactly.
If James Cameron has a do not interfere clause in his properties.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see that.
Well, he's already kind of, I mean, Avatar, there's so little to it that, I mean, I didn't even bother to look at it. I mean, honestly, the first one, the story was really meh. I mean, it's pretty eye candy, but shit, that's what, Pornhub's for, right?
Cat Smurfs.
Wow.
Well, is it better eye candy than CGI stuff? Of course, it depends on the videos, but I digress. I don't know, man. And it's free. You don't have to pay for it. All right. I think now what we should do is go to some super chats here. So let's make that happen. And then we're going to get to our movie that we love. Let's go ahead and get to it. And thanks everybody for your patience. A Bear 71 with an incredibly generous $20 super chat. Thank you, A Bear. Says, my proudest achievement is raising my 15-year-old daughter to be a normal, non-woke, responsible teenager in this insane cultural phase we find ourselves in. Kind of the opposite of Rachel Z. Thank you guys for fighting for us. You're very welcome, A Bear 71. I wish I had a magic wand. I could just wave it and make all this shit go away and return sanity to our world. But opposite that, I keep calling out this trash. I keep calling it out. Sigvaldison with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Sigvaldison. Says, oh, Harvey Cthulhu, whose tentacles of wisdom reach out from the void. In your madness, truths and mysteries are deployed. See, a very wise man is Sigvaldison. Thank you, Sigvaldison, and see you on Friday, I hope, dude. See you then, Sigvaldison. And Harvey loves to be buttered up. Keep at it. Keep at it, my friend. Jack White with two $5 super chats in a row. Thank you, Jack. He says, did you guys see the trailer for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Last Ronin game? And that Red Dead Redemption 1 has a release date on the PS4. I did not see the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Last Ronin game. Did any of you guys see that? Are y'all any of you guys big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans?
Nope.
Nobody?
I have not seen it.
I love Red Dead Redemption,
Oh yeah,
the
I
original.
played that.
But they're like revamping it and everything, and it's like, I don't know. I thought that the original was perfectly fine. I don't feel a need to go out and spend more money on it and replay it that way. I'll look into it. I mean, they probably have done some new things for it, but I just love the original. It's one of my favorite games of all time, and I don't know. I don't see any need to really do that. Jack White also says, DC, I just sent you an email with a link to images from Miyazaki's next movie. Share them with the panel as a palate cleanser. I don't have access to that email, Jack, on me right now, but I tell you what, man, happy to do it next week. Yeah, I'll go ahead and forward it to my system here, and we'll pop that up there and show a little Miyazaki. I love Miyazaki's stuff. He's great. Andrew M with a $5 super chat. Thank you. Andrew says Snow White and the Seven Antifas is horribly cast. Who thinks Rachel is more fair than Gal? And Disney denied 7 little people a great opportunity. Shame. Yeah, well, thank Dinklage for that. He really sabotaged his fellow actors of height, and yeah, so they should tell him thanks a lot if they see him on the street. You know,
I don't want to pick on people, but did anybody happen to notice that, like, is Disney's casting agent like? I've noticed the girl playing Snow White and the girl playing the Little Mermaid. Their eyes are like on the sides of their head. Like, what's up with it? What's the likelihood that you're going to get two girls like with walleye vision and you're going to cast them in your animated remake?
Who's the greatest mud skipper of them all? Muddy Mud Skipper.
Oh man, maybe she went into the audition for Flounder, and they're like, you know what, just give her Ariel. Fuck it.
They're not going to sneak up on this, Snow Woke. I tell you what. I tell you what. Oh God, gotta love Ren and Stimpy, one of the greatest cartoons ever made. The first season, John Cristofalusi, just pure genius, space madness. God damn, I love Ren and Stimpy. That came out of nowhere, man.
Yes, I saw a panel with him where he was putting on display a short that they had made that I thought was one of the funniest things ever. It was like to sell the show, and it was this old man with his granddaughter and his grandson, and he's got all of these cans without labels, and he says to them really dramatically, "Now we're going to play a game. It's called Cans Without Labels." It's like, we open the can, and whatever's inside, you have to eat it. They open up this can, and it's just like the gnarliest shit you've ever seen. And he's just looking at him like, eat it. These kids are just crying. It was so over the top. I on the spot named a company that I was trying to put together at the time. My company is called Cans Without Labels.
That sounds like George Liquor, actually, like his George Liquor character.
Yeah, exactly. It was early George Liquor, and it is so freaking the I told you it's true, but you wouldn't believe it. The guy who sings Happy Happy Joy Joy.
Right. Stinky Whizzle Teats, right?
Yeah, Stinky Whizzle Teats. Yeah.
Doom, have you seen the adult party cartoon Ren and Stimpy?
The one that they made after the original?
Yeah.
Yeah, it got totally fucked up, didn't it?
It was absolutely, it ruins everything.
It does. That's why
for those of you out there in TV land, if you have not seen the adult party cartoon and you love Ren and Stimpy, do not fucking watch it.
Yeah.
Don't watch it.
A lot of gay stuff, a lot of
don't tell
weird...
them. Don't.
Yeah, just I'm not. But
don't
yeah,
watch it.
Yeah. You don't want to watch it because watch the original season. With Powdered Toast Man and Mr. Horse. No, sir, I don't like it. It's great stuff.
It's very funny.
I don't know. I love that.
Let's see. A Bear 71 with a $5 super chat. Thank you, A Bear. Says, I think the Wicked Queen should put cyanide in Snow White's apple in lieu of sleep potion for this reimagination. I think that's a good idea, A Bear 71. Can it be done? They might be able to edit that in. They might be able to. X with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, X. Says, hot take. Zegler looks 100% from Spain. She's white. She's as annoying as she is. She deserves all sorts of criticism. She'd hate the observation. X, look, she just doesn't look like Snow White. I don't care what her race is. I mean, her appearance, should match the description, and it doesn't. Right. She's getting too much sun or something. I don't know what to tell you, man.
There are white girls that are not as white as Snow White. They don't deserve to get the role.
Oh,
they deserve to get the role.
About Snow White in particular, because I adapted the Muppets Snow White fairy tale, and when I did that, I went back and I read the Brothers Grimm fairy tale, and it's so beautiful. There's so many really kind of cool things about the original tale, and if they're going to be taking any influence and making any changes, it should be based on the source material of Snow White, and in particular, just the character of Snow White is sold by the opening paragraph, which is all about the queen, her mother, who dies, and that she's at her window while it's snowing, and she pricks her finger, and a drop of blood hits the snow on the windowsill, and she sees the blood against the white snow against the black wood of the ebony window frame, and she goes, wouldn't it be wonderful if I should have a daughter whose hair was black as ebony, whose lips were red as blood, and whose skin was white as snow? and she had a daughter, and they named her Snow White, and the queen died. And it is such a beautiful opening, to not actually fulfill the mother's dream. Like that is, it's like a little poem about the mother dreaming of this child, how beautiful it would be to see this, to not bring that to life in making the movie just is so, what a waste of the beauty of that fairy tale, which is a European fairy tale.
Oh, we don't give a shit about that. All right. Well, thanks, Mickey, for clarifying. We could tell. We could tell you didn't give a shit, and that is a good point. It's a damn shame. Aurora Uplinks with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Aurora. Says, so I sent this brilliant idea to Disney. Make the evil queen the star of the movie and make it about the end of her reign of evil. I hope they do it. They won't, Aurora Uplinks. They're not really into ideas and stuff. I mean, where's the woke angle? Where's the woke angle? That's all they care about. This is propaganda at this point. This is not stories. Mad Cat 15 with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Mad Cat, says Mexican Iron Man. As an IT recommend, you don't display your network in the background. Looks great, but I really hope you secured your router and your modem with a unique password. Just words of advice.
He paid to tell you that.
He did. Well, he cares, Mike.
I am locked down. I'm hardwired and I am locked down.
Okay, so you're good.
256 dual encryption. Oh yeah, I am locked down. Good luck getting onto my network. Good luck with that action. Come on, bring it.
Fair enough.
221, whatever it takes.
Thank you, Mad Cat 15 exclamation mark. Appreciate you caring, man. That's nice of him.
Love you.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Hussein Maud with 50 Saudi reals. We're getting an audience, so we're reaching all the way to Saudi Arabia, folks. Thank you, Hussein. Says alternate plot: Snow White, daughter of cartel boss, and runs the snow business. The evil stepmom is working with the DEA to turn her and her company in. The apple is female assassin with an Adam's apple. I like it. The snow business. Interesting.
Say hello to my little friend.
Exactly. Thank you, Hussein Maud. Appreciate it. Cosmic Plains with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Cosmic One. Says next year is the 40th anniversary of the Never Ending Story. Any chance you think it worthy of a movie of the week retrospect? What do you guys think about the Never Ending Story? When it's 40th anniversary, do we want to talk about it?
Absolutely. When it hits its 40th, let's do that.
Let's do it. That sounds
That's a great
good.
idea. Yeah. It's a great
Proposed
movie.
and ratified Cosmic Plains. There you go. That's a good one. Scott Hudson with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Scott. Scott says, I can vouch for Snow White's house on Larchmont Boulevard in Los Angeles. I grew up about 3 blocks away. She did have a wishing well, which was magical to walk by. Isn't that cool? Thanks, Scott. Holy shit. Wouldn't that have been amazing to meet her? It would have been like stepping into a fairy tale. I swear to God. I imagine the kids must have flocked around her whenever they, heard her, because she had a very distinctive voice. I wonder if she sounded like that, just, like that. Or was her speaking voice? Like, did she really have that high a voice, or did she enhance it for the movie? I'd like to know that. Mercenary X21 with a $2 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Says, I judge if this LGP gets near any kids off limits. Yeah, I understand that, Mercenary X21. It should not, kids should not be involved in that shit. I agree entirely. Warachi, who's been a Dumentide for 17 months now. Thank you, Warachi. Says that Altman may well be one of Harvey's spawns. What? Don't blame me for that guy. No fucking way, dude. No fucking way. Uh-oh, he's apoplectic, dude. Yeah, you triggered him there. You triggered him. Mercenary X21 with a $2 super chat says that San Francisco Gay Men's Choir and that song about kids. Yeah, where they made that baiting, little video where they were singing that song about we're going to corrupt your kids. We're going to, yeah. I think they claim it was meant to be funny. It wasn't funny. It wasn't funny. Detroit with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Detroit too. Says Zegler is just parroting the BS she's been taught. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she didn't invent wokeness, but nevertheless, it's still offensive and not something we want to hear. Robert Malone with a $1.99 super chat. Thank you, Robert. Says, I'm a doctor, and this is the definition of grooming. Huh? Well, all right. You know, I'm not an expert on that. I try not to even think about it, but if you say so, Doc, I will respect your professional opinion on that. Gunstar One gifted, God blessed, Gunstar One gifted 5 more Overlord DVD memberships to this channel. Thank you, Gunstar One. You rock, my friend. You rock. And the Tingler 1959, it was a very good year, says, take a page from the elite. Don't give them technology until they are older. Absolutely. I mean, it would be hard because the pressure would be, but daddy, everybody else has a cell phone and, you know, a smartphone in class. I'd be like, well, you're not everybody else, you know? I just wouldn't allow it. I know it would be tough. It's real fucking tough. That's why I'm glad I'm not a father, you know? I just, God damn, I would not want to raise kids in this time and place. It's just too fraught with too many things all at once. It's insane.
We need because they would be sweet and kind like you are. I know you have a sense of humor. People like to paint you as a black sheep, but you are a kind man. It's the reason why I was drawn to your channel. Coming into the back door of this show, you literally sent me a thing that said, you know, we like to talk about the issues, but not the people. You know, we like to argue about the sin, not the sinners, and be pointing fingers and blaming. That's what I've always noticed about you and your show. It's why I was drawn to you as a fan, because I don't want to get into an argument where we're insulting people and people's pride are getting affected. I want to see the good ideas rise to the top because the merit of the ideas are so fucking good that they cannot be denied. I want to live in that world, and you live in that world, and you're a good egg. And I really just wanted to say that as having an excuse to.
Well, thanks, Jesse. That's very kind of you to say. But I still don't want kids.
You should have them.
But you may already have them.
You may.
Not that I know of. Not that I know of.
Yeah. Where have I heard that before?
Right.
Me and Harvey getting on the tramp steamer to Rio. We're leaving now. If I vanish, it's because of, you know, Maury. It's Maury. Dwight Baldwin, excuse me, sir, with a $1.99 super chat. Thank you, Dwight. Says, who has more spies in Disney, Doomcock or the CCP? I think I do. Overall, it's the CCP. In Disney, I think probably me at this point. I'm not sure. It's pure speculation, maybe ego, but that would be my guess. And Hussein Maud with another 50 Saudi reals, I believe is what they are. Thank you, Hussein Maud. He says, as someone outside the USA looking in, this is beyond Disney. This is about the systematic destruction of everything that made American culture and even manufacturing great across the board.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think we all agree with that, don't we?
Hell yes.
Yep.
This is deliberate. This is methodical. And this is hostile to the American experiment.
Yes.
And so in a way, we are patriots fighting for our culture and our country, not in the obvious ways, not in the necessarily overtly political field, but in issues, in dealing with truth, in trying to point out through humor, through analogy, through direct criticism, through any means that we can legally do, that these things are absolutely abhorrent to the American character and Western culture as a whole. This is a coordinated assault by enemies, both foreign and domestic, on everything that we care about. And I think we shouldn't have any illusions about that. I'm not entirely sure what to do about it, except to keep fighting as best I can, in the limited way that I can, at least until I launch an attack that conquers the surface world with my giant robots, which, you know, I'm working on it. I'm working. A few more super chats, and we're going to get to the movie. Big Bad Brass Balls with a $5 super chat. Thank you, BBBB. Says, isn't the Vanguard Group and BlackRock making these calls? Isn't Iger beholden to them? Didn't the CEO of the Vanguard Group say we have to be forced to change? Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think Iger and the Disney board made a devil's bargain. You know, I think it was Mephistophelian, where we will give you all this free money and all you have to do is toe the woke line.
Yep.
And now they're so deep into it that, you know, if Vanguard or BlackRock calls those loans in, Disney, it's apocalyptic. And so they're basically on the hook. It's like a pusher that's gotten Disney addicted to woke money. And now Disney is, they own Disney's soul. Is that more or less accurate, Mike?
Yep, it is accurate.
I'm afraid so. And I don't see it.
The only way to break them is to financially break them.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go a step further. One of the reasons why I think this company is continuing to be propped up is because, to use a zombie analogy, Disney, for the strategy that you laid out exactly the way you did, Doomcock, where it's intentional, it's malicious, just like the super chat reads, and just like you said, in my view, Disney is woke company patient zero.
Wow.
It is patient zero zombie for woke corporate. Because think about this: if they can get the family company on planet Earth, then that's the ultimate prize for these people, and we cannot let them have this company.
Yeah. You can't forget that Bob Iger has been talking about for years how this is just the beginning of his opus of taking over the world. First, he's going to show us how wonderful he can run Disney, and then he's going to go into the political sector. If this is how good he can run Disney, imagine how divisive he would be as a political candidate. As far as this man has shot himself in the dick so badly for actually being able to run any sort of campaign under the sun, because who would trust him to not use divisive tactics and use these terrible political tactics that we've seen over the past years that just have divided the fandom and divided all the people in the political spectrum?
Yeah, no, I think that's quite correct. In terms of Hollywood, although Bonzo Kilborn in the chat quite correctly points out academia is patient zero. If it hadn't been for, you know, these wokies, brainwashing students for, decades before they finally got into a position to get into companies like Disney, to get on the boards, to get into Vanguard and BlackRock, we wouldn't have this problem.
True.
Anyway, shit, that sucks. John Edgar, it's been a Dominion for 26 months now. Thank you, John. Says, hail. Off topic, just want to say I loathe Kurtzman. Here. I fucking loathe Kurtzman and Secret Hideout and Bad Reboot and fucking, Jar Jar Abrams as well. But I think that they're on the way out. I think they overplayed their hand. I think even Hollywood can only tolerate so much failure. And my God, they've had more than their share. Aaron Pipes with a $20 super chat. Thank you. Aaron says, I have a normie friend who is a big fan of Disney merch and trips. Had Disney Plus on with kids watching while she folded laundry. Louder and Prouder was on. Suddenly went, what the fuck? As it caught her attention, canceled Disney Plus immediately. An inspiring message. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you. I had to applaud on that. That's
the same thing you were talking about earlier in the show, Doomcock, about like the normies, like with my client's wife. There you go again.
Damn right.
That story.
It's inspiring. Absolutely inspiring. Author Tim Sousa with a first-time super chat. Thank you, Tim. A $20 super chat. Tim, author Tim Sousa, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I'm glad you're here tonight. Tim says, if Snow Woke is never in Hollywood again, fear not. There's always OnlyFans. Oh God, that's the wrong, wishing well to toss my coin into. I don't want to do that. Want to hear that echo. And Gary Ambrosia gifted 5 Overlord DVD memberships to this channel as well. Thank you, Gary.
What a sucker.
You're awesome, man. You're awesome.
Oh, that was me?
That was you, Gary.
I thought it was another Gary Ambrosia.
No,
Shit.
it's that
Okay.
Gary Ambrosia. And Buddy Mom Ambrosia's in the chat. So, I mean, she's like,
oh, Lord, I'm in trouble
shit.
now.
Now you're in trouble. Let's scoot over to the movies that we love, shall we? All right, I have actually got the screen grabs, the correct ones, Gary.
I haven't seen it, so I'm cutting out.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No.
Well, thank you, Mexican Iron Man. Please go ahead and plug away, my friend.
Well, you'll find me on Midnight Edge After Dark and Midnight Edge, and thanks for having me, and dang it, Bob.
Dang it, Bob. Thank you, Mexican Iron Man. God bless you, brother. It's great to have you back, and we hope to see you next week.
Thank you.
We love you, Mike. See you later,
Love
buddy.
you, buddy.
Love
Good
y'all.
night,
Bye.
Mike.
So this is, I guess, equal parts, 80s comedy and wish fulfillment. It's yeah, it's got a lot of naughty stuff in it, and it's kind of an example of the kind of funny movies that they don't really make anymore, and it's a shame. It used to be, these were wonderful films, especially for young men growing up, that you'd get to see all sorts of delectable, booby-like images, and ass-ish, jiggly, happy fun bags. I don't know what to say. It was a better time. It was a better time to be
It was.
a man, especially a young man. And we hope to go ahead and be able to share a little with you in a censored way. And thank you for censoring it, Gary.
I totally forgot when I sent you the screen caps, but I'm glad you got the censored one. So
absolutely. Gary, why don't you share with us your love of this and explain to these folks what they're missing if they haven't seen it.
Okay, well, first off, I'm going to start by saying it was damn near impossible to find any information about this movie.
Wow.
This was really a chore. I mean, I really dug deep, and I got what I got. I got some interesting things, but it was really a task.
This is like one of the few movies that Fonzie did after Happy Days success.
That's correct.
He did this. He did a movie called Heroes, didn't he? Where he was like a Vietnam vet or something like that.
He did. Well, what's interesting about Henry Winkler is, and I'll get more into it in the notes, but he actually became a producer, and I think he directed a couple of things too. But he started branching out in his career after this movie. So this movie was kind of a shifting point in his career, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, he's a really kind of a funny Jewish guy at heart, but he, played this kind of proto thug on Happy Days, and
right,
totally different. A very good actor,
very versatile too. Very, very talented guy, and very low key.
Yeah,
very low key. The things that he did, you really wouldn't expect. You're really. Anyway, here we go. Night Shift, the first major film from child star turned actor turned director Ron Howard. Night Shift falls in the vein of Animal House and Caddyshack, starring the Fonz himself, Henry Winkler, and the up-and-coming Michael Keaton and Shelley Long, star of the hit series Cheers, which began the same year. Written by Lowell Gantz and Babaloo Mandel, the film was produced by Imagine Entertainment co-founder Brian Grazer in 1982 for an $8 million budget and grossed over $21 million worldwide. It was a moderate success. It wasn't a massive success. It was moderate. Again, about 2.5 to 3 times the budget usually means that they make their money back plus a little bit, but not much. So $8 million budget, $21 million worldwide. It definitely gained kind of a cult following and launched the career of everybody involved in this movie. Ron Howard had previously directed a film for Roger Corman entitled Grand Theft Auto, not based on the popular video game, but something totally different. Lowell Gantz and Babaloo Mandel had been writers for the TV series Happy Days, and it was an article in a New York newspaper that inspired them to write the story and script. The article described a person who had been arrested for running a prostitution business out of a city morgue in New York. Based on a true story, apparently, this movie. I did not know that. Gantz, Mandel, Howard, and Keaton would team up again 4 years later to make Gung Ho in 1986. Also a very funny movie.
I like that.
And this
movie.
is Clint Howard right here.
There it is. There he is right there. What's the name of his character in Star Trek? I can never remember.
Baylock.
Baylock. Yeah. There he is right there.
And
Still-
Chaka from Land of the Lost.
That's right. Still as attractive as he was when he was 5 years old.
Yeah.
Yo,
But
I
first, Petrania.
I went on IMDb trying to look to see because I'm like, this must be between the gap of him being a little kid and him. Like, I bet he didn't work for a few years. That dude has 255
Right.
different acting credits on his page, not including personal like appearances as himself, all acting roles. He never stopped working since he was a little kid. It's crazy.
That's correct. And since you are the newcomer on this panel, Jesse, I will tell you that this is the time when you shut up and when I
I'm
talk.
sorry.
Oh, no.
Anyway, continuing on. The solid working relationship between Ron Howard and Henry Winkler continues on after the long friendship over the hit TV series Happy Days, in which the two actors played Richie Cunningham and Arthur the Fonzarelli. An interesting side note, Winkler based the character of the Fonz on the mannerisms of Sylvester Stallone during the time he spent with the megastar during the production of The Lords of Flatbush.
Wow.
Winkler claims he developed the character of Chuck Lumley with Ron Howard during casting sessions and interviews with the other potential actors. Ron Howard insisted on keeping the character of Chuck in line by having a picture of his fiancée and mother facing him at all times on his desk, watching over him. It was Henry Winkler's agreement to star in the film which greenlit the movie to be produced. That's how much power this guy had at the time.
Wow.
Let's see. Winkler was also. At the time the film was being shot in New York, Winkler was also shooting episodes of the 9th season of Happy Days back in California. Night Shift allowed Winkler to break away from his typecasting in Happy Days, and he also went on to produce many films and TV series, including MacGyver, starring Richard Dean Anderson.
I didn't know that he.
Yeah.
Was he the Winkler and Winkler Chardoff?
I don't know that for sure, but I know that he ended up becoming a producer, very subtle producer. Like he would produce things and really not get any publicity about it. So the guy worked a lot. The guy worked like heavily and consistently in Hollywood on films and television.
He turned a beautiful dollar.
Yeah, right. The world was introduced to the charm, wit,
Hey, guys.
humor, and
Can I
talent.
interrupt for a second?
What's that? Hello, Andy. Can you hear us? Tune in
Andy,
Tokyo.
you okay?
Come in, Wonton. Okay, I'll move on. The world was introduced to the charm, wit, humor, and talent of Michael Keaton with this film. One has only to watch his appearances on TV promoting the film in 1982 to see why he became such a huge star. I'm referring to one of the only interviews I've ever seen regarding this movie, which is when he appeared on David Letterman. And he did some stand-up comedy shtick. Really didn't talk much about the movie, but basically did the Billy Blazowski type thing on the show. Let's see. One has only to watch his appearances on TV promoting the film in 1982 to see why he became such a huge star. Keaton had worked as a stand-up comic and had only one minor role in a movie before 1982. He also had a very short-lived sitcom called Working Stiffs, starring opposite Jim Belushi. The show was canceled within a month and is very hard to find on home video. One of the directors of the show was Penny Marshall, so it may be this Happy Days connection that led him to be cast in Night Shift. Nobody knows. The character of Billy Blazowski is very much Keaton in real life, only now having Ron Howard assist in successfully translating his wild personality onto the big screen. Winkler was at first very hesitant on working with Keaton, citing he felt the actor was talented but made him uncomfortable in his improvisational style. Howard assured Winkler that given the nature of the script, this was a good thing for him to feel awkward around the stand-up comic. Keaton went on to star in many films, comedy and drama, including Tim Burton's big screen adaptation of The Dark Knight in Batman in 1989. The same year that Night Shift was released, Shelley Long had landed the role of Diane Chambers in the long-running series Cheers. Howard and Grazer were sold on her after seeing her performance in Caveman alongside Dennis Quaid and Ringo Starr, which is a fucking hilarious movie if nobody has seen that.
I've seen it. And Barbara Bach.
Oh, yeah,
as
dude.
Raquel Welch kind of was Ringo Starr's wife, right?
Right? Yeah,
Zug.
I know. What a fucking hilarious movie. Long had also appeared in MASH, Trapper John MD, and Family, and was offered the role of Mary, Mom, in Steven Spielberg's E.T. the Extraterrestrial, however, had to turn it down due to her already being signed to Night Shift.
Ah, wow.
I did not know that.
No, I didn't either.
It
But
took
thank
some
you for
digging
the
to find
excuse
that.
to return to this image, because
Oh, I know, right? This is what I see every morning when my wife makes me breakfast. That's how good looking my wife is. I love her
Nice.
so much. I'm so lucky. Oh, yeah. There we go. Many famous actors appear in supporting roles in the film, including Richard Belzer as a competing pimp, Clint Howard, brother of Ron and Vance, as Billy's first customer, Vincent Schiavelli as an irate delivery man, and Joe Spinell as a red light district club owner. If you look closely, you will see a very young Shannon Doherty as a Bluebird scout who attempts to rescue Belinda by beating Chuck over the head with a box of cookies.
That's
And-
interrupting.
And Kevin Costner as a frat boy at the morgue party. Also appearing in the
Wow.
jail scene while with Keaton and Winkler is Charles Fleischer, known for performing the voice of Roger Rabbit.
yes.
The annoying saxophone player on the subway is played by none other than the director himself, Ron Howard. Howard and his wife, Cheryl, also appear as a couple making out in Chuck's apartment hallway. One of the call girls is played by Jade Barrymore, the mother of Drew Barrymore. And yet another of the ladies of the night was played by Ola Ray, who went on to appear as the girlfriend in Michael Jackson's Thriller in 1983 and also appeared in the June 1984 issue of Playboy magazine. There she is right in the front with the pink sweater.
There we go. Yeah.
There we
I'm
go.
not like the other boys.
Right? There she is.
Yeah.
The fraternity appearing in the morgue party was Delta Tau Chi, which was the fraternity that was made famous in National Lampoon's Animal House.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that interesting? It's the same fraternity.
Damn.
My final note, because
Universe.
again, this was really difficult to find any information on this movie. Night Shift, the theme song from the film, was written for the film by Burt Bacharach, Carol Bayer Sager, and Mark Ross, and performed by Quarterflash. Also written by Bacharach and Sager, and featured during the end credits is "That's What Friends Are For," performed by Rod Stewart, which the song would later gain popularity as covered by Dionne Warwick, Elton John, Gladys Knight, and Stevie Wonder.
Wow.
That was it, guys. Look, there's Kevin Costner right
Yeah.
there.
That's
In a total
him.
background role.
Oh
He's got
my
no
God.
dialogue or anything. There he is.
Right behind him.
Isn't that cool? But
That's amazing.
this movie's fucking hilarious. It's great. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. It's really, really funny. There's some great boobage in this movie. There's some really good looking gals. This movie's funny. It's fun. It'll make you smile, and it really is. It's a treasure from 1982. And again, it's Michael Keaton's first major appearance. So look, there we go, right there, folks. That is Clint Howard's first and only appearance with a naked woman in his life within 12 inches of his own person. There it is, right there. But
Oh, man.
And
I'm
the
glad it
actress
was caught on
paid.
film.
right, I know. Otherwise, no one would believe it, right? You know,
He said, "Thanks, Ron."
right?
You're
So
a good
anyway.
brother. I love you.
There you go, guys. Night Shift. On to the next guy.
Let's just go cycle up. Let's get Douglas Nelson in here. Douglas, anything you would like to share about this movie?
I've always loved the movie ever since I saw it way back when, and could instantly see why Michael Keaton became a star. But it is interesting. And even then, seeing him in interviews and whatnot, and Henry Winkler, what Gary was describing there, where they're basically playing themselves. Henry Winkler is very much, that's more of him. Fonz was complete creation and whatnot, but and then to realize that he felt awkward around how Keaton was handling all this. And then Ron said, yeah, but that's actually really good because that's the nature of their relationship throughout the film. And it's just really good. And I had a crush on Shelley Long there,
Yeah.
For obvious
She's really
reasons.
good looking in this movie.
She really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could see why. And she saves this man from the torment he was going to endure.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's not happening. So I know he's worried and scared and everything, but in the end, it all works out.
Mhm.
And then even after all, there's so much funny into it. I'm really irritated that it's so hard for to find things on it for Gary to do his piece, because this is one of the great films of the 80s, in my opinion, in comedy.
Yes.
And but the scene that keeps coming to mind is after everything blows up and they're in jail, and he's there with Billy, and he's like, oh my God, what have I done? It's over, And then Billy's like, yeah, but we were rolling there for a while, huh? It's so stupid. It's so great.
Ain't that always the case, though? You can always say that.
Yeah.
I like that shot. It's very Looney Tunes,
Let's see what we can do.
No human being could survive that, but it's okay because it's a movie.
I swear that one actor in black, he plays the same villain in every movie he's in.
Richard Belzer, you
Richard
mean?
Belzer, yeah.
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 He
was actually a stand-up, though, wasn't he?
Yes,
Oh,
he
yeah.
was.
Yeah, stand-up comedian. Yeah.
He was.
The
Yeah.
first time I saw him doing that.
And he started on Homicide: Life in the Streets and transferred over into Law and Order.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. But
Say hello to my little friend.
yeah.
He's a total dirtbag in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Total
yeah.
dirtbag.
He generally is.
Yeah. Right.
But this. Yeah, that tells you the whole
There
thing.
you go, right there, man. There you go. The still that made Michael Keaton a star, right there.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Look at him.
Pop
We were
collar.
really going for a while there.
God, he's so
Yeah.
funny.
And he's so good in it as this character. He's like, well, he's just a funny guy. And Gung Ho is another. We probably should do that one. That's a
Oh,
really good
Gung Ho
one.
is fucking great. It's
Gung Ho's
fucking
great. I like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when he was announced as Batman, there's the one where he's telling, we were rolling for a while, though.
There's Charles Fleischer behind him. That guy right back there that's the voice of Roger Rabbit, folks. just in
Roger
case you don't
Rabbit.
know.
Wow.
There he is, right there.
Is that the guy from Welcome Back, Kotter?
No,
I don't think so.
think
No,
think so.
no.
No, I don't think so.
You mean Horshack?
Horseshack?
No,
Yeah.
He was one of the heavies on Welcome Back, Kotter.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, really? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah,
I don't recognize him. Maybe I guess he blended in the background,
But it's, look, if you haven't seen it, track it down and treat yourself. It's excellent. It's hilarious.
Yeah, this
Really
movie's
good
funny
film.
as hell.
And so it was an odd thing. And I remember at the time when Michael Keaton was cast as Batman, there was a big uproar, and then but he showed what he could do, and he's a solid actor, even in movies I don't particularly like, but I like him every time he shows up. He's he's a big talent.
Oh,
So
yeah.
anyway, all due apologies, but I've got to take my leave now, Doomcock. So
Absolutely. But please go ahead and plug away. And before you go, I mean, what is better? What's the better Keaton vehicle? Is it this movie or is it Johnny Dangerously?
I love that movie.
That's
Johnny-
hard.
It's hard, but I'm gonna go with this one. Just
Wow.
I guess out of the sentimental value that it holds for me too at the time and whatnot. So
Okay. Fair
I'd
enough.
vote Night Shift. So
Wow. Okay.
Johnny Dangerously, that's kind of tough. I mean,
You
that's
know,
really
yeah, it's a tough call.
Keaton's
Yeah.
fucking movie. But go ahead.
Also,
Yeah,
also,
it's more his than
Doug, I don't know if you know this before you go, but this was Keaton's first little testing ground of Beetlejuice.
Well, yeah, I would assume so. Yeah,
There's a scene where they're getting off the train, and he's like, we could do this for all your neighbor and all her girlfriends. And he looks through the window and he looks at Henry Winkler and he's like, "Love brokers, you and me, buddy." And it's totally Beetlejuice. It's his little testing ground for Beetlejuice, which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, you can see the beginnings.
Yep.
Yeah.
Proto Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Where's Doug's comic book? I want to show that.
Absolutely. But go ahead, Doug. Tell us about your comic.
The comics from Doug Nelson are over at indieplanet.com, so you can get Night Night, Sun King, and Etc. Woman available now at indieplanet.com. Based on my audio plays of the same name of Night Night and Sun King, over at the Mr. Nelson Show from radiomisfits.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And then other Nelson goodies can be found at the nelsonratings.locals.com.
Oh, here he found it. He
There
had
we
to
go.
pry it
There
away from
it
the
is.
rabbit.
There's-
It's popular with them.
There it is. That's number 2.
Yeah.
And there's number 1.
Yes.
Somebody moved his stuff around while he was there.
Yeah, you did.
What a
Oh,
prick.
right. It happens.
Here we go. Ready?
Oh, it's spinning toward the buy it.
Oh,
there we go.
There you
The
go.
segue.
Thank you. Doug, thank you so much for being here, man. And you feel better. Have a great rest of the week. And we look forward to seeing you next week, brother. Thank you.
It was always my pleasure.
Night, Doug.
We'll see you later,
Doug.
buddy.
See you later, man.
Good night, all.
Good night, brother. All right. All right. Let's go to Robert Wright. Robert, have you any memories of this particular movie?
Oh yeah. So this was an HBO one that I stopped down that I would watch, even when I was not allowed to, along with movies like Porky's that came out the year before, and later on Revenge of the Nerds, where you stayed up late and watched some action. But yeah, this movie's hilarious. I always remember Jumpin' Jack Flash. It's a gas with Michael Keaton singing that song throughout the whole movie. Was hilarious. But I just thought this movie is really a lot of fun, funny movie. There's a couple of scenes with Shelley Long that are just incredible, like that where she's cooking in the kitchen, in his kitchen. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
She was so hot. And to find out from later on that there was somebody's dad had gone, a friend of mine, his dad had gone to college with Shelley Long, and to hear a story about her performing on stage nude in college is interesting too. So I was like, oh wow, and to top it up with this. But yeah, this movie's great. The thing that was just interesting is that how Henry Winkler, you had this Fonzie persona, and he just turned it on its head. And part of what this movie is about as well, not only is it a comedy, but it's about him finding his self-respect. And I think that's very important because like the relationship that he has with his fiance is totally awful. And I'll be honest with you guys, it's a kind of a lesson in life that if you've got someone that's so obsessed with their problems that they make you into kind of their crutch for your problems, that's a relationship you don't need. And, part of what Shelley Long does for him in this movie is saves him from that awful relationship. So this is a really good movie. I suggest you see it. I mean, it's funny. It's an 80s comedy. It's, apparently it's based on a true story. I had no idea of that, Gary. Thank you for sharing the facts. And then I still can't believe I heard that Rod Stewart was singing "That's What Friends Are For." Totally changes that song for me in a way.
Yeah, it's that's kind of weird. I'd never heard that version of it before. I mean, it was popular on the radio. I think it was, I want to say someone like Roberta Flack or something singing that song. That's what friends are for.
Dionne Warwick.
Dionne Warwick.
Elton
Gladys
John,
Knight, Elton John, and Stevie Wonder.
Okay. This guy, isn't this Rocky's boss?
Yeah, I would say I saw the same
Yes,
thing.
it is.
Yes.
That's what.
Yeah, I've got a good memory for faces.
Yeah. He's also in The Godfather Part 1 and 2.
Rocky's boss.
Hey, Bob Iger, I might have to break some thumbs.
Oh dear. Yeah, man, this is full of great happy faces that Gary had to pop in there. Thank you for that. Let's go to Jesse. Jesse, you just watched this movie. What'd you? That's terrible.
No,
What'd you
whoa,
think of that?
thank
What'd you think of this movie?
I hadn't watched it in years, but this is on a list of. I was raised on comedy. My father is a touring rock musician, and they literally used to travel with a big case, like a treasure chest full of VHS tapes. And, you know, to be one of the movies that was being quoted all the time on tour, because, you know, they just had all this time on their hands. They were constantly watching movies on the tour bus. That was the badge of honor. That meant you really had a classic film. And there were a ton of quotes that I remembered as soon as the movie started. You know, one of the best ones is just, "Is this a great country or what?" You know, that great quote. You know, it's a million times you could say that. Another one my dad used to break it all the time was, "That's what made it such a beautiful gesture on my part." Which is something he says to Henry Winkler. He says, "I gave you $100. I never asked for that," which is what made it such a beautiful gesture on my part. And there's just so many more in it. You know, you can't just walk up and slap a guy. This is the 80s. You have to go and say something cool first. I mean, it really is just filled with great one-liners. And Michael Keaton at the very beginning of his Michael Keaton, you know, I really love Real Genius because it's Val Kilmer at the beginning of his Val Kilmerness. And this is Michael Keaton at the beginning of that, you know, stage of his career. People saw him here and went, "Oh, wow, we're going to do a lot of great things with this guy. And my life is better because of it." And then, two, I don't know, I just always found it so interesting. The Coolest Geek Alive, that whole thing comes from Arthur Fonzarelli and a sketch that I pitched to Sesame Street when it moved to HBO, where Ernie B. Good was walking around in a leather jacket doing nice things, behaving nicely. Because cool people, they're a utility around. Cool people help you out. They're empathetic. Arthur Fonzarelli would either give you the good advice that you needed, or he would personally take care of the problem for you. And I got a tattoo on my arm years ago that said "Coolest Man Alive." And it was a pledge from myself to be a cool dude. And I always just found him to be the marquee for that. And I guess I felt even more so when I saw this movie and I saw that he forgoes being cool. And he's this nebbish loser who needs to learn how to stand up for himself. And I don't know. It made me like him that much more at the time when I saw it, because I never would have expected him to play that role, having known him from reruns of Happy Days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, he's an interesting guy.
Yeah,
I didn't realize he was doing all that producing. That's interesting.
yeah.
He was actually, at the time this movie was being shot, they were shooting the 9th season of Happy Days. He was still playing Arthur Fonzarelli.
Really?
Yeah.
When they shot this movie, this came out.
This movie, he was shooting these scenes in New York, and he would fly back during the week to California to shoot the 9th season of Happy Days.
Wow.
I gotta say though, dude, when you say that, this is probably around the time that Fonzie jumped the shark.
Oh yeah, oh definitely. It was already on its way out. Thank God he was doing this movie.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I'll just leave it on this.
Yeah, look at that.
But yeah, Jesse. So you dig this movie? You were happy with it? Glad you got to watch it again?
It's very clever, and you know, I did actually have another kind of interesting experience watching it, which was I was triggered for a second during one of the jokes. There was a joke about basically like guys being turned on by Girl Scouts. And my first reaction to it, having not really heard anything like that in a while, and feeling like, you know, child abduction is a pretty big deal and things like that. Like I immediately was like, that's not funny. And then I went, oh man, isn't it such a better thing when we can actually laugh at the idea that there is a line and it does get blurry and people are attracted to young, beautiful people. Granted, crossing that line is wrong, but should we stop making jokes about the reality, which is that, yeah, you know, there's a bit of a blurry line that happens when it comes to girls and ages and whatnot. I think making a joke about it takes the air out of the room, and that we should definitely be able to cross those lines, even though I immediately went, oh, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, well, comedy is transgressive, and I think that it's a safety valve for society. I think, and it's just a shame that people are, so sensitive. Not about that area particularly. I think that's a fucked up area, but I mean, just in general,
Yeah.
not having a sense of humor about these various
Well, and you got to kind of leave the door open.
fringes of human experience.
Yeah, and you can't just start drawing the arbitrary. I know it's very tempting, and sometimes you'll be like, oh, that's a little blow, but people need to be able to do that. It really, like, there really can't be anything that's strictly off limits, because when we're being creative, we have to be able to just open ourselves up to the possibilities that other people might see. And sometimes that's being really daring, and you can get yourself in trouble. But the moment people stop being daring, we stop getting really interesting new ideas that light up the landscape. So, I mean, like, I'm always more for the open-ended, go with God. And
like freedom of speech.
Yeah,
it's important.
Try it.
Important for comedy.
Yeah, your feedback will let you know how you did.
Yeah, exactly. Andy, have you got anything you'd like to say about this?
Well, from the old guy in the room, starting with American Graffiti, transversing into Happy Days, which became the iconic thing of the 70s. Then we had Arthur Fonzarelli, who defined what it meant to be cool and what it meant to be, the guy who was just sort of had the answers for everything. And when this came out, Ron Howard was, I mean, we had seen him as Opie on the Andy Griffith Show. We had seen him as in American Graffiti, and we saw him in Happy Days. And then directing this, the complete turnaround from what everybody was seeing, what he portrayed up until this point, that shift was amazing. It was astonishing. It really gave him the props as an actor that he deserved. Clearly, Michael Keaton glowed in this movie. There's so many people in this. Like when I was rewatching this day before my internet hiccup there, I was pointing out, I was watching this, I saw the little Girl Scout and I saw her eyes. And I was like, well, that looks like Shannon Doherty's wonky eye. And I was like, and sure enough, there's Shannon Doherty. It's like, how about that shit? And I did share a screen here. Yeah, her by her wonky eye. That guy, there's Charles Fleischer. He played Cavelli, the guy on Welcome Back, Kotter, who was like, he was the bad guy.
Holy shit, he really was on that show.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
12 episodes.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Hey.
Good catch.
So I thought that was pretty cool. It's like, wait a second, because that guy was, and then to see him as Roger Rabbit. I mean, this guy played the consummate asshole. He was like, the bully, pushing everybody around and stuff like that. But then, and Shelley Long, and then to see her go along in Cheers, where she played such a uptight little prissy girl, and then you could go back and you could watch this with, I'm sorry, but Doomcat, the scene you had after this one you had up, where her butt's sitting there, in those little tiny underwear, I could stare at that all day. That was just like, and every time I would watch Cheers, I would see that. And I was just like, wow. You know what? As annoying as she was on Cheers, I could understand that. But
Sam's obsession with her, Sam Malone.
Yeah.
Oh, I just love her from Money Pit.
Money Pit's a great movie too.
That's one of my favorite old 80s comedies. That movie is so damn funny. Him getting stuck in the floor, dropping the bathtub through the floor, and then uncontrollable, laughing, looking at the hole in the floor.
I will say that Michael Keaton had a profound impact on my childhood development on the one scene where he said, I'm an idea man, and he would throw out all these goofy ideas, because that got me thinking, you know what? I think of goofy ideas like that. I think of stupid things that you just pop, and that gave me license to go out and just come out with it. Of course, back then in the early 80s, everybody thought I was weird and nuts. But eventually, time caught up with me, and it's actually kind of amusing. So I will.
Andy, it's interesting that you mentioned that because every one of Billy Blazkowski's inventions in this movie has come true.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
I was
Wow.
thinking that. I was watching.
Look it
Yeah.
up, baby.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, sorry, continue.
He was
Andy.
ahead of his time, dude.
He was.
But my favorite scene in this is the dog at the very end. After he flips out on Vincent Schiavelli he finally gets the balls to say, no, this is not the sandwich I wanted. And then the dog comes barking and he turns around, you, and the dog yipes and runs around.
Yeah,
Turns around. That was the point where you realize as a kid, as a nerdy little kid, you're like, wait a second, you know what? All I have to do is stand up for myself a little bit and my life won't be like this. That was pretty powerful too. There's a lot of good messaging in this movie, especially for modern day kids. And it's a pretty simple story, but the amount of points that they make in this is something very impressive. That like they don't have to go over it and over it and shove it down your throat. Just subtly say some things and move on to the next thing. We've all kind of added little elements to this story and picked out different parts that we each kind of identified with, and that's real storytelling. That's something that seems to be a lost art, which is ironic because now we're at a point where students in film school have nothing but time on their hands and could be looking at these old classic things, and instead what they're doing is they're turning around and saying, you know what they all did in the past, that was stupid, it was racist, sexist, homophobic, whatever, add the thing. We know better now, and we can make a better film or a better product. And clearly they can't because nobody likes it. And if you don't believe me, look at Disney's earnings call and their profit lines there. And they're all going that way because they can't tell a story. And they can't connect with what's innately human. They have to connect with this weird kind of thing that they got going on in their ideology in their heads. But this is classic entertainment. If you guys haven't seen this movie, and guys like Mexican Iron Man, who's been slacking, catch up on it and get back to us. And hopefully, we'll get you the movie of the week next week in plenty of time so you can watch it, young man.
Andy Masterson is right.
Yes.
He
Hey,
is.
one quick thing to add on.
Totally jealous of Mike because he gets to watch these movies for the first time. I've seen this movie 100 fucking times, The magic's, I enjoy it, but the magic's just not there. He gets to watch, he watched Rambo for the first time, like just a few months ago. How lucky is he?
Can I add to something Andy said
I want to
about
add something too.
quintessential? Because there's a scene in it that I took. I'm a comic book writer, so for me, it's always like, is the picture telling me a story? And there is just a great frame with Arthur Fonzarelli in the back seat, surrounded by his fiance who sucks and his mom who sucks even harder, and she's leaning across from him, dominating him, telling the whole car how she had to emasculate his father, and she's going to have to emasculate the son the same way she emasculated the father. And don't worry, I'll teach you how to take away this person's will to live. And just when you see them like just leaning over him and him leaned back, just desolate, it's just that picture's worth 1,000 words. And there is not enough imagery like that where, the circumstances and the conversation and everything, I think it was Spike TV. They used to have this rule where you needed to be able to understand what was going on with the volume off. And, people forget to think that way, that set pieces and visual cues that tell us what the story is, they really go a long way to solidify for us and make us feel it with them. And that scene, man, you totally just feel his pain.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Robert, go ahead.
Yeah, what I wanted to add to Andy is that you've got a few different stories in this whole movie. You've got a few different storylines, and they're all character driven. You have Henry Winkler's story. You've got Shelley Long's story. You got the story about the pimp and the bad guys trying to find out who they are, who's doing all the stuff there. You've got Michael Keaton's character, who actually, if you watch the movie, you'll find out that he came from the West Coast and moved on and really hadn't found a stable job or stable thing because he's just an idea guy and he's all wrapped up in his ideas. But you have all of those threads come together in the way that the characters react to all the situations. Yeah. And it's character driven. And that's what's missing in Hollywood today. They don't have as much character driven plot devices. They don't have as much character driven stories.
Yeah.
Well, they're lazy. They're lazy and they're sloppy and they don't have the craft. They don't have the discipline. They, you don't get great getting participation trophies. Mm-hmm. You get great losing. You get great being beaten down and being resilient and being stubborn and getting back up and channeling your inner, Neil Diamond. I said, you know what I mean? You got to assert yourself. And these people, they don't do that anymore. It's kind of fucked up.
It's a great comedy, though, for those reasons, because it's kind of like Ghostbusters in that they're taking it seriously, even though there's comedy there, but the comedy never erodes the believability of the circumstances. Like it's better for the fact that it's a realistic depiction of how two losers down on their luck might figure out how to be, pimps. And because it's real and skirts that line, there's a moment in time where all of a sudden the camera goes close up on Michael Keaton and he's telling you about his mom and how she got beaten until she was ugly by his father, who was an ugly man, who eventually left them behind. And all of the aspects of him that make him funny, make him tragic, and make you care about him that much more. Hollywood is often very scared to do that nowadays, and it's the work is less for it.
They don't know how to do it, Jesse. They have no fucking idea how to do it. And what you're talking about, that one moment in the movie is one of the best pieces of acting that Michael Keaton's ever done. Because he literally is covering up for all the pain that he suffers. And, he says, my dad left because he said that my mom and me were too ugly to live with. In my case, he was wrong. And he cracks a joke, but he's fucking literally welling up in tears. And, he records. Really he's having a hard time, but he puts on his recorder. He's like, reminder, call mom. And you get the trouble and the trauma that this character got. It's just this little tiny piece of acting. It's very subtle. It can breeze right by you. And then you watch how he's covering up when he looks at Chuck and he goes, this guy, I'm going to teach this guy how to have fun. But he's literally crying in that scene.
Yeah. And I mean, you don't get time for that, Gary. You don't get room for that. It's like these days it's solid, CGI crap, and it's all hyper kinetic and bullshit.
That's the thing, Doom. You really only need a few seconds, like Keaton proves in this movie, but you only need those few moments. You need very little information to relay that little piece of, Billy Blazkowski's all over the place. He's joking around throughout the whole movie. It's the one time when he's serious in the film. It's
right.
The one time.
No, but you're right. But they laid the foundation for that throughout the whole movie, because the reason that it works, Gary, is because of the contrast.
Exactly.
And
that's why he goes so far.
Craft.
He goes so far in the opposite direction that when you see that moment, it lands so heavy.
Oh, yeah. I want to like. Did you see They Shoot Horses, Don't They? Do you remember that movie?
Yep.
I didn't see
that was with God, what was his name? I can't remember the guy's name. I remember it was Jane Fonda was in it. It's about dance marathons in the Depression. It's done by the same guy that wrote, No Country for Old Men. Yes. That guy, really hard ass writer. Yes. Anyway, she is just a hard ass, hard bitten, bitter woman. They're dancing this grim dance of death, like just determined to win this money in this dance competition, which is a marathon where they have to keep dancing. That's why they shoot horses, don't they? Because they're dropping like animals after 30, 40 hours. Anyway, she's been so bitter, she's been so harsh, and at one point towards the end of the movie, she tears her dress, and it's the only fucking dress she's got, and she just bursts into tears, and it is such a incredibly powerful moment. And it's similar to this. You've got to craft the whole movie to get those moments, and these people don't know how to do that.
They have no idea how to do that. And they have no idea the simplicity of it, really.
Mhm.
That's the irony, really. It doesn't take much. You just really have to have this character go to this extreme to finally get to that moment, and then you finally understand why it's happening. In the case with Michael Keaton's character in this movie, it really doesn't take much. It just takes him. He even cracks a joke about how ugly his mother is compared to him. And we get that he's covering for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can I say, like, there's this thing that modern writers completely forget, and it is that the audience is assuming that whatever characters you've put into a narrative are the best vehicle for that message. In the case of this movie, you know, our character is a guy in a relationship with a woman who can't even look at herself when she is nude. The counter to that, you know, malady is this woman who is brave enough to go and be nude in front of all the men.
Right.
Like, these things are perfectly polarized, wonderful dynamics that make one thing work and the other thing works. When you see 007, you're assuming that we are hanging out with the greatest spy that the world has to offer. Because if he's not, why aren't you telling us his story?
Yeah.
And this is the main thing when it comes to these main characters. We just assume, and you have to back it up, that you have put this person in front of us because they are the best way to illustrate whatever the point of this freaking thing is. And most of the time nowadays, people get so lost in just stupid minutia that has nothing to do with making them the most brilliant, dynamic, perfect choice for a part, a role in a story, and everything's weaker because of it. It's like, well, why is it this guy that we're following? Why are we following Shang-Chi when we should be following Shang-Chi's sister? She's a way more interesting character than Shang-Chi. Oh, well, because the movie's called Shang-Chi. Well, then make him the most interesting character that we need to see what's going on with him. Don't make him a waste of life who's getting wasted with his friend and parking cars. And make his sister the character who's interesting and compelling. They'll want to push all this stuff off to fringe characters to give agency to characters and robbing the actual story of the agency it deserves to have by giving all of the credit to the main character that we're following.
Yeah. Good point, man. Good point. I think this has been a good discussion, and thanks for suggesting this, Gary.
Wasn't me, it was Andy.
Oh, it's Andy. Well, thanks, Andy. Well done,
Andy's
sir.
Andy's a pervert at heart, as we know. I mean, like, we didn't know. So he suggested, he's like, let's pick a movie with tits. It's funny. And I'm like, well, okay, that works. So.
And it worked. Well done.
Oh,
Andy.
yeah.
You
No
say
more-
pervert.
No more Twisted Sister.
All
You say
right, there
pervert
we
like it's
go.
a bad thing.
Thank you, Andy. Let's go ahead and get to some super chats here.
Super chats, mofo.
All right, let's go ahead and pull up the super chats here. And wow, I hadn't let that go that far before. Let's go ahead and read these here, folks. Thank y'all for your patience. Michael Maloney, been a Dumentite of mine for 44 months. It's great to see you, Michael. He says, bear in mind, all of this was made under KK's rule. Well, the Star Wars stuff was, but not Snow White. You can't pin that on KK. She had nothing to do with Snow White or the Minnie Mouse shit. In this case, I can't believe I'm saying this, but in this case, KK is blameless. It is not her fault. Not this shit. You can't pin it on her. Lord of the Eagles Reaches. It's been a Dumentite of mine for 44 months now. Thank you, oh Lord of the Eagles Reaches. Says, hail Doomcock and panel. There's no hope for Star Wars. Have to accept it. Yeah, I pretty much have gone through all the stages of grieving and bargaining and stuff, and I think I'm about at acceptance now. I hate to say it, but it's fucking true. It's a damn shame. They really fucked the pooch on that. Mercenary X21 with a $5 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Says, when I did lift, had someone ask me if I was going to see Black Panther. When I said no, because it was too much politics involved in it, he called me a racist. Of course. Well, that's shit. They'd call you a racist even if you didn't say that. You know, if you're the wrong, wider shade of pale, then you're toast with a certain demographic. We'll just put it that way. Thank you, Mercenary X21. Michael Beacom with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Michael. Says Overlord DVD. Speaking of movies we love, just wondering if you've managed to view Paths of Glory, The Silencers, or Arabesque. I know you're busy. Just hoping you got time for you. Actually, Michael, I've had very little time for me, but I'm planning on taking a little bit of time tomorrow. I think I might watch Paths of Glory. You know, I think it might be time to see that. I've never seen that movie before, and gotta love Kubrick in all of his many iterations.
Shame on you for not seeing that yet.
I know, man, but I've been sent it. I'm gonna watch it.
But you're very lucky. You get to enjoy a Kubrick movie that you haven't seen before, and that's gold.
I know, man. He's fantastic. I've seen the major ones, but
I'm jealous. I'm jealous, dude. It's a good
Dude
movie.
Cop, you're a Kubrick fan? He depresses the hell out of me, except for Dr. Strangelove.
I love Kubrick. I love Strangelove, 2001, Clockwork Orange, all of those.
It's so dark.
We should do Dr. Strangelove sometime though on this show.
I agree.
That's fucking perfect.
Great movie.
Cog the Great with a $2 super chat. It's the first time super chat. Thank you, Cog the Great. Says, hail. Thoughts on the new Twisted Metal show? I haven't seen it. I don't know what Twisted Metal is. Does anybody know what that is?
Video game turned into a show. I don't know anything about it.
Anthony Mackie's in it. I haven't heard anything about it yet. That's why I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that, Cog the Great. I'm so sorry. Your first super chat, and I couldn't answer. I hate that. Apple 2GS says it's a PS1 video game. Okay, from way back in the day. Huh. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, Cog the Great, send me a link at dictorvandoomcock@gmail.com to the trailer, and I will take a look at it. Thank you, Cog the Great.
Cog the Great. Thanks for the first super chat.
Amen. Thank you, brother. Dayglan with a $2 super chat says they are at $86 a share for a reason. Their standards are the stockholders' standards are too low. They really it should be at like $80 a share, don't you think? Honestly, that's what it ought to be. Yeah, really down to 70. Okay, 50. That's what I think. 50. That's the target that I'm setting. Shum, who's been a Dumentite of mine for 28 months now. Thank you, Shum. Says the SST Enterprise isn't at Udvar Hazy anymore. They moved it to New York on the Intrepid. USS Enterprise from the show was moved for the Air and Space renovations. Oh, really? What the fuck?
They moved the Enterprise?
Yeah, the model of the Enterprise is not at the Air and Space Museum right now there because it's renovated.
I don't know. I didn't hear about that. Well, that's good. They're keeping it well kept then.
I guess. But I swear I have a history of getting fucked on this shit. I made a trip to Houston especially to see the shuttlecraft Galileo, and they had put it in storage. I was like,
really? After the restoration and everything?
Yeah, the shuttlecraft Galileo, yeah. It was moved out of the fucking, they put some kind of, I don't know. I was just so fucking upset.
We'll go on a road trip when you finally come out of the closet, and we'll go check out the Enterprise and the Galileo.
Closet. I would like that. We could do like a shooting on the road, like a road trip. Homage, what is it? A pilgrimage. That's what it is. Cog the Great, also with a $3 super chat. Thank you, Cog the Great. Says, hail panel. Thoughts about the new Futurama season? I'm for it, man. I doubt that they're going to make it woke. I hope not, but I haven't heard too much about it. But Futurama was a great show. Any fans of Futurama on the panel here?
Hell yeah. That's a great show. We should check that out and give it a review because I'm excited. I want to see it.
All right,
I like that show.
Let's take a look at it and see if we can review it for the show.
Okay,
that's one of those shows that has a lot of heart.
Yeah,
it's a comedy show, but like they always keep it grounded enough that it comes back around over and over again to make you really care about the characters. Even the Michael Keaton of that show, Bender.
Right. I'm just
Yep.
feeling sad that, they talked about reviving King of the Hill, and there have been plans, and then Johnny Hardwick passed, the voice of Dale Gribble, and man, I don't
Sad.
know. I don't know if they can do it anymore or would want to, but that's just a damn shame. He was hilarious. God bless Johnny Hardwick.
Yeah.
Digi Akuma has been a Doomentite for 44 months. Thank you, Digi. He says, Hail Doomcock, PCB Council, and chat. Zegler scared of Snow White movie and ride? She'd never make it through 80s kids movies. They scared us shitless.
Yeah.
Well, she's a fucking snowflake, and that's what they do, That's who they are. They are not hale, hardy people. Let me just put it that way.
You know what? I want to make one point real quick, Doomcock.
Sure.
At least we know that Johnny Hardwick is not Doomcock now. How about that?
That's right.
Because we were thinking that he might have been him.
And yet, you're still not sure that I'm not Mac Judge, boy. I tell you what.
See?
But
we know it's not him.
No, it's not him.
Cross one off the list, folks. Only like 4 billion more to go.
You don't know I'm not condo, stupid hillbilly.
Or Bill Clinton.
Or Bill Clinton. Let me tell you something. I'm against gender fluid. If you have to have gender fluid, get it dry cleaned out. It becomes evidence. All right. Well, that's a good. That's a good advice.
Bill.
That's good advice. Thank you, Mr. President. Mark Harkness with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Mark Harkness. Says, want to beat wokies? Instead of Disney, take kids to see one or more of America's museum ships. The Alabama, North Carolina, Massachusetts, Hornet, Yorktown, Olympia, Constitution. Support our history. Well said. Yeah, Mark.
Cool.
Battleship Texas, baby.
Damn right. Damn
Battleship
right, dude.
Texas. And the Missouri. Don't forget the Missouri and Hawaii.
That's right. Hail to the Missouri. Hail to JRC 99US out there as well.
Hail to the Virgin.
The Eisenhower. God bless it.
My brother was the chief of the boat on that ship.
No shit, really?
Yep.
Wow. JRC 99US is stationed on that ship.
Yep. We've talked about that.
He's a good
His
guy.
name is Virgin. You can call him Virgin from now on.
Like a virgin.
E. Delio with a $5 Canadian super chat. Thank you, E. Says, who knew Barbie was ahead of its time? Releasing anatomically correct Ken dolls.
Oh, God.
It was really weird when my Captain Action beat and stripped my Ken doll for his Captain Kirk outfit. Ken was wearing underwear that was molded to his body and was flesh colored. It was the damnedest thing. Poor
What was even stranger is he soiled him.
He did. It's true. Oh man. Yeah. Digi Akuma with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Digi Akuma. Says, regarding Robert Malone's super chat, I haven't visited Disneyland since May of 2017, 6 months before Last Jedi, but I haven't visited them since. It's been Knott's Berry Farm for me. You should give them a visit. Oh yeah, Knott's Berry Farm is great, man.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, no, I went there. I went on the same trip. I went to Disneyland and I went to Knott's Berry Farm. Liked Knott's Berry Farm better.
Did you know that Elvira used to appear at Knott's Berry Farm during Knott's Scary Farm?
Oh, I know, man.
Oh man, I wish I could have seen that, man.
My girlfriend used to be one of the scaring people at Knott's Berry Farm, and I have season passes there because I'm bi-coastal. I live in New York and LA. I love Knott's Berry Farm. I want to go to the promotions office. I've been wanting to do this for years, and I want to pitch them on licensing Where's Waldo at their parks and having Where's Waldo hidden all around the park. I think it would be a huge financial boom for Knott's Berry Farm, and they could overtake Disney with just Waldo.
I agree, Jesse. And you could be Waldo.
I'll get paid well to do so.
I would like to find Elvira in the park.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, especially if she was like in a bikini or something,
Oh my
Fine.
God. All right, stop.
gosh, yeah.
Stop.
Wouldn't that
That's
be great?
for Steve Martin, though.
Right.
Steve Martin got his start in the park at Knott's Berry Farm. He used to, I don't know if he was like juggling and doing circus kind of tricks in that little house they have for comedians and musicians.
Wow.
Wasn't he also a cowboy that did lasso tricks?
Yeah,
Probably.
that kind of stuff. That's where he started.
Steve Martin, man.
I
What
love
a
Steve
guy.
Martin.
78
Phantom
years
Outsider says, he's been a channel member of mine for 33 months, says, to pad the movie a bit at first, the mirror says Snow White. Then someone reminds the mirror he's not wearing his glasses. And then he says, oh, shit, Gal Gadot.
Right.
That's the way to do it, man. That would pad it just a few minutes anyway. Michael Beacom with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Michael, says, Gal Gadot, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the wokest one of all? Mirror says, while you're Bud Light woke, it's true. Young Snow Brown is worse than you. Thank you, Michael Beacom. I like that. This movie is going to be comedy fucking gold.
Yes.
I mean, I hate the fucking idea of it, but I'm gonna monetize the shit out of that fucking
Just
movie.
think of the super chats. Oh, boy.
I'm gonna fuck that up.
I hope
gonna-
they make a sequel where she's 40 years old with lots of cats.
Do you appreciate them making your job this easy, Doomcock? I mean, it's really like they're just like it's like a funnel, a pipeline for you of things to roast.
I would stop it if I could. I would stop the abomination, honestly, if I could.
That's what I love
really would.
about you.
But you think about it for a second before you stopped it, right?
But since I can't, I'm gonna ride that motherfucker all the way.
There you go.
I know.
Fuck that shit. I've actually got it.
More entertaining than the entertainment itself.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I've got a couple of great tips from some spies about scenes that are in Snow Woke. That video is going to come out in the next few days. So get ready for that. It's going to be really good. Stony L. Robertson with a $20 super chat. Thank you, Stony. Says, been thinking more of the horror version of Snow White with Sigourney Weaver and was inspired to contemplate a version where the queen swaps bodies with Snow White and the prince kills the queen, who's now Snow White. Well, interesting. Sigourney Weaver. Yeah, she did that. Wasn't she like the queen in that though?
She was. Yeah.
Yep.
I haven't actually seen that. Was it good?
I haven't seen it either.
I just
I think
know
I
of
watched
it.
it once with my
What was
daughter.
it?
Huh. A horror version of Snow White. Interesting. Thank you, Stony L. Robertson. A very generous super chat, sir, and I am grateful. C with a $20 super chat. Thank you very much, C, for that. Good to see you. C says, princesses shouldn't have to wait to be in love for their lives to begin, but should be allowed to want love. 110%. I mean, she wants love. Snow White. Really, the opening of Snow White is one of my favorite movie openings of all fucking time. I mean, when she is at that wishing well and she sings that song, and the echoes and the reactions of the birds around her to the echo is just so alive and charming, and the effect of her looking down in the pool, they show her reflection in the ripples I have no fucking idea how they did that. I have no idea how they did that with that technology in 1937. It's an incredible scene, and it's just so beautiful, heartbreakingly beautiful in so many ways that it honestly breaks my heart that they're doing this. And I would stop it if I could. I would absolutely stop it if I could. I can't.
The original animated classic, man. Like, I mean, they're doing themselves a disservice by not honoring the past. That's the foundations the entire company has been built on. I'm an old school Disney animation fan. I believe in Imagineering and the beautiful vision that Walt Disney had. And watching all these people go back in time and rewrite the history of the Walt Disney Company in so many ways, it's happening right now by rewriting Snow White, the original movie, the one that started it all.
They think they know better. They think they know better.
They do, Andy. They fucking think that, hey, we're going to re-engineer society. What are they re-engineering out? Longing for love? Longing for romance?
Wishing.
Beauty. Yeah, wishing and hoping.
In the years to come, this pile of shit will just be regarded as that.
Yeah.
I agree.
Really, it's going to be a joke. So,
Yeah.
we shouldn't fret too much, really.
Oh no.
I know, but it just deeply offends me because I think
know.
of the poor kids. I think, I don't have any goddamn kids myself, but I think,
Not that you know of.
not that I know of, but I tell you what, it would break my fucking heart if they went over to like a sleepover, at somebody's house, some classmate's house, and they came back, hey, we watched Snow White. It's like, oh, was it great? No, the weird guys with the, homeless clothes. And I'm like, what? You watched the live action one? And then it would be ruined because you could never see the original fresh. That is fucking abuse, in my opinion. When you take nutritious food from a child and give it junk, that's abuse. It's not sexual abuse, but it's still abuse. It's abuse of the child's soul and his imagination, his dreams.
Yes.
And you cannot recapture that.
Yes.
So
I feel bad for these kids. I've got 2 kids, and I was lucky enough to sit with them and watch the classic Disney movies, the classic cartoons, and take them to Disney World and let them see, and especially my daughter, seeing like her face light up when she would see Belle. That's her favorite. And now these kids aren't going to get that because they've ruined all this stuff. And these people, when they go along and they think, I don't understand the mentality of it. How do you think we got where we are? Do you think you just like blossomed out here with all this, I'm going to think of equity and everybody should be like this to everybody. You know what? You don't have to tell peaceful people to be peaceful. You don't have to tell nice people to be peaceful. You have to tell the bad people to do that, but they're not going to listen to you anyway. So you better be strong enough to stand up against them. And this nonsense of teaching, like you're going to get a bunch of women out there, they're going to stand up and mouth off to some guy who's going to be an animal, and he's going to just punch him in the mouth. And unfortunately, that's going to be the lesson that a lot of these younger generations are going to have to feel before they realize, hey, you know what? It would be really nice if I had a strong husband who would be willing to die for me rather than let somebody hurt me.
Also, these movies, these classics are overwhelmingly positive, uplifting stories. And the dregs that they're retrying out, especially what they're doing with this one, sounds like it's all about, a political agenda that's, something that's ugly and dirty and not positive at all. I mean,
yeah, there's no tenderness. There's no gentleness, kindness, and love in any fucking woke project. They act like they're standing up for people or whatever. There is no compassion in the woke philosophy. There's none.
The best example is that Peter Pan movie that they did. And I saw somebody, maybe it was Little Platoon, who broke it down really, really good. And there's so much pro-women stuff built into that movie because it's about boys being unable to let go of their boyhood and grow up. And their pathway to growing up is Wendy, who's this mature girl who's attracted to Peter and his youthfulness, but also recognizes the wisdom in growing up in an important way. And they started going in there just doing all their bull crap that they do, and they actually lost sight of the meal, this wonderful meal that was being served to the boys where they were learning from the girls. Like, dudes, you guys are culturally vandalizing the shit that you are purporting to care about because you didn't bother to go ahead of time and find out what the whole thing was all about at its heart. And that is just one example of many that I could cite where they're shooting themselves in the foot.
100%.
They didn't lose sight of it, Jesse. They intentionally strayed away from it.
But I don't think that they even realized that the message was already there beautifully. I feel like it could have been amplified. And instead,
of course they realize it. They know damn well what they're doing. This is all intentional, man.
I think you might. Yeah, I think it is, dude.
Yeah, they're not that stupid. I mean, nobody gets hundreds of millions of dollars to sabotage something because they're idiots.
I
They
think
get it
they
because
do.
they're being
I
told
think
that they're
they
doing it.
do,
You know?
actually, Gary.
I don't think
They're
so.
idiots. I think these people, like, you know what it is? It's like when a manager, the people below the manager are only ever as smart as the manager or less so, because the manager.
That's correct. There's a certain amount of useful idiots, but the whole main reason by this is to devalue and degrade so many of the institutions which we hold highly in this country, and in the world as well.
I
definitely
agree.
the reason.
I think they're both. I think there's a good point on both. I think it's largely by design, but I do think there is an element of incompetence in the production of these things.
Useful incompetence.
Yeah. But ultimately,
Oh.
is our culture being destroyed? I think there's no doubt about that. Grimlock Destroys 85 with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Grimlock Destroys. Says cancel Disney Plus after Gina Carano's firing. Probably would have tried again if Mando season 3 was good. Not expecting much from Ahsoka. I used to buy so much Star Wars. My last purchase was over 18 months ago. Shit, my last purchase was after Rogue One, and that was it.
There you go.
Not a fucking thing other than that. Some used second market stuff, in collector shops and stuff, but nothing like from Disney per se. Princess Fiona says some adult behavior just isn't okay around kids. Duh. 100% Princess Fiona. Could not agree more. Thank you for that. It's good to see you. Your Muslim uncle with a $1.99 super chat is saying to Mexican Iron Man, definitely a YouTuber. Thank you, your Muslim uncle. You hear that, Mikey? He just called you out. The Slickness EDM he's been a channel member for 4 months and says, F Disney. F fucking Disney. Amen. Let's see. The Funny Hatter, who has been a Dominion of mine for 9 months. Thank you. The Funny Hatter says they refuse to learn. Teach them. # no more money for rat. Thank you, Funny Hatter. I endorse that view in fucking entirely. Quarks Bar with a $2 super chat. Thank you. Quarks Bar says Michael Keaton is the idea man. The Fonz is a simp. Well, he's the useful idiot for Michael Keaton, I guess, in some sense. Thank you, Quarks Bar. Troy Neenan with a $5 super chat. Thank you. Troy says you are also missing out on independent people. Disney stole a lot of fan-made stuff, but no one was brave enough to sue. This is probably true. We don't even know about the levels of theft going on over there. I do know that they've been pricks in the past. There's no doubt about that. Michael Beacom with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Michael. He says, my wife loves the Tanith Lee or Neil Gaiman take on Snow White. Skin white as snow, ruby red lips. Obviously, she is a vampire. Tanith Lee writes some great vampire stuff. There's no doubt about it. We've got an anthology of vampire stories, and Tanith Lee has some very good stories in it. John Carpenter with a $2 super chat. Thank you. John says Mickey Mouse goes public domain 01/01/2024. Well, at least the Steamboat Willie iteration of Mickey Mouse goes public domain. But that'll be plenty for us to fuck with, don't you think? Digi Akuma with a $10 super chat. Thank you, my friends. So speaking of Snow White, I also learned about their attempts at spin-offs, and it was outright stupid to learn their sequel to Snow White would be a ripoff of the movie Happily Ever After from 1989. I never saw it, Digi Akuma, so I have no idea. Anybody see Happily Ever After? I guess not.
Unfortunately, I was forced to watch it because an ex loved that movie and it was garbage.
It was garbage. Okay, that's kind of what I figured. That's why I didn't watch it. Sean Carter with a $5 super chat. Thank you. Sean says, why does Mexican Iron Man use the Linux operating system? Because Windows broke when he jumped out. Love you, Mike.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
that shit only comes out when he's not here.
Yeah.
Y'all gotta throw that shit in his face when he's here.
I know. Well, I didn't. It was, yeah, he had already
It's not
left.
your fault. No, I know. I get it. But, we got to spit that shit in his face when he's here.
Send them early.
Please send the Mexican Iron Man shots early, people.
Yes.
Send them early.
Yeah.
He doesn't watch the movies and then he leaves.
Boom.
What a guy.
Let's kick him where it counts,
That's right. In the cojones. Jack White with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jack. Says DC, Jeff Hicks said he would be happy to have you back on the High Council and that he would be happy to join you guys on Pop Culture Breakdown. Oh, cool. I'll tell you, I haven't talked to Jeff in a while. I'll get in touch with him, man. He's a good guy. Thank you, Jack White. Hail to you, sir. Appreciate that. Rod Lemon has joined the channel membership at the Dumentite level. Thank you, Rod. Welcome to the show. 32 new members tonight, folks. 32 new members.
32.
And we're at 958 likes. If you're enjoying the show, please consider pushing the thumbs up, giving a like to the show, licking that like button, and maybe we get up to 1,000 before the evening is done. Thomas Zaniello, Thomas Zaniello gifted 5 Overlord DVD memberships to this channel.
Wow.
Thank you, Thomas. Wow. Hail to you, Thomas
Wow.
Zaniello.
All right.
Zaniello. I want to say it like that. Tomas Zaniello.
There you go.
A great name. Jack White with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jack. Says about that gay men's group that sang "We Are Coming for Your Kids." It was revealed that they had records of the criminal verity. Wow. No shit. Seriously?
Oh yeah, yeah. There was a bunch of them that were on certain lists.
Oh my God, that is just so fucked up. You can't make this shit up. It's really fucked up. Irfan Ashwar with 30 MYRs. Is that? That's Malaysian. 30 Malaysian, I guess I'm going to say dollars. Thank you, Irfan Ashwar. Wow, a first-time super chat from Irfan as well. Thank you, Irfan. Says, hi from Malaysia. Love your content. Thank you, Irfan. Says, the last couple of years, I've not seen Marvel movies and shows since DS2 MOM. They've completely ruined excitement with woke agenda. Keep fighting, Overlord DVD. Irfan, you haven't missed anything, dude. You haven't missed a damn thing. The Marvel stuff has been garbage. The last thing that was worth watching, honestly, other than Werewolf by Night, which was great, was Avengers Endgame. Honestly, I've not been happy with that shit. And
okay.
I didn't even like Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It really.
What about the Christmas special? That was really good.
Yeah, I did like the Christmas special, but that's like a TV special. It's not really like a movie. But yeah, no, that was good. That was good. Sean Carter. Anyway, listen, Irfan Ashwar, thank you so much, and hail to Malaysia. Wow.
Hail Malaysia.
I don't know if I've ever gotten anything from Malaysia before. That's super cool. We're all over the world, Gary. Can you imagine?
Put a new pin on the map for you.
That is super cool, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
We're everywhere, dude. That's
exciting, man. Yes.
Shit. I think we've even gotten stuff from Russia every now and then.
Right.
Isn't that amazing.
And
nothing from China though.
And they obviously hate woke shit in Malaysia, so that's great, man. Hail Malaysia.
God bless Malaysia, really.
Fuck yeah.
Did we get vodka from Russia?
We got whatever Russian what is the currency over there?
Rubles?
Yeah. What's that?
Something
Got
like
a couple of that. Nothing from China though. Never anything from China. It doesn't surprise
I
me.
wonder
Why. Well, a couple years ago we did.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks.
Oh, it just keeps on giving.
Yeah. God damn. Yeah. Thanks, China. Thanks. Sean Carter with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Sean. Says, my dad was a driver on this movie for a couple of days and gave Henry Winkler a ride home.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Dad said he was one of the nicest guys he ever encountered.
Wow, right on. So his dad was a Teamster then.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Sean has told me that he's driven some definitely some guys, I mean, some movie stars.
That's cool, man.
We should ask him about that sometime.
We got to have Sean Carter on, man. Let's have him on.
We should.
Yeah.
Sean, would you like to come on the show sometime? Tell us some of your Hollywood stories. That would be pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
Ledgerine with a $2 Canadian super chat. Thank you. Ledgerine says, just stopping by to say hi. We'll be watching later. Well, Ledgerine, let's hope that you came back and you enjoyed the show. Douchebag Kylo with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Douchebag Kylo says, any ideas for next week's film? Maybe something starring a true legend in an indie picture. I'm sorry, we're all booked up for The Last Movie Star, starring Burt Reynolds. So that's actually the movie you're talking about, Douchebag Kylo, and that's the movie we're going to be having. And we're going to be having the director of that film come on the show and talk about working with Burt Reynolds and the rest of the cast doing an indie picture. I've seen the movie. It's extremely good. So Douchebag Kylo, really, really looking forward to that. And everybody should tune in for some true non-Hollywood stories about Burt Reynolds in his twilight and in his kind of swan song, so to speak. Big Dave K with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Dave. Says, I watched Severance. Thanks for the suggestion. Oh, you're very welcome, Big Dave K. It's an extremely disturbing movie. I mean, a show, isn't it? Really, really good show on Apple TV. Definitely worth a look, folks. Severance. Genuine science fiction and genuinely disturbing. Dennis Clark renewed their channel membership at the Dominion level. Thank you, Dennis Clark. We really appreciate you, man. Thank you. And Richard Spake with a $5 super chat. Richard, I've been meaning to write you back about the email you sent me. I'm glad you're here. Please forgive me for the delay, but I've been dealing with some stuff. But anyway, Richard says, Andy Masterson, the term pervert is a bad thing when it involves a certain little green pervy we all know and love.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
Uh-oh. Hit a nerve, Richard. I wouldn't say Harvey's a pervert. I think he's just a deadbeat.
I'll accept that.
Okay. Thank you, Richard Spake. And I will be in touch, brother. Thank you for sending me that. Solly Tom with a $10 super chat. Thank you. Solly Tom says, my summer schedule is ending this Friday, so this is the last time I'll be able to see Pop Culture Breakdown live. Thanks to all of you for making it a fun one. This is nothing new, but still, I'm sorry, Solly Tom. We will miss you, man. We'll miss you, but I'm glad that you were able to be here tonight.
Hail, Solly. We'll miss you, man.
Yeah, bless you, brother.
Catch that
Wes,
replay.
yeah, man. What can you do? Work, right? It interferes. Right. Wes Cagle with a $2 super chat says, Mein Führer, I can walk. Gentlemen, there's no fighting in the war room. My favorite bit is with Jack D. Ripper, General Jack D. Ripper.
Right.
Read me, Mandrake. Read me. God damn, what a great movie. We got to see that.
Bodily fluids.
Yes, Jack, we're going to go. We certainly did take care of those rogues, didn't we? And we're going to go ahead and put our heads together and come up with that code, Jack, aren't we? Yes, we certainly. It's just a great movie.
I like when Sellers is like, it would not be difficult, Mein Führer. I mean, Mr. President.
Peter Sellers is just fantastic in that
Fucking
movie.
great.
Oh, yeah, man. God, we got to do that movie.
Yes.
We got to do that
Slim
movie.
Pickens.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, the bomb. If we're going to do Peter Sellers, we probably need to do a Pink Panther movie at some point, too.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Oh,
Great
wow.
stuff.
I love the whole Pink Panther series is freaking worthwhile.
It is.
Even Steve Martin's enters, which they pale in comparison, but for that one scene of the burger, the burger.
The hamburger scene, yes, that's hilarious.
I never saw it. I'm done. You know,
They're
it's just
garbage.
Peter
Jim.
Sellers
Don't
for me.
bother.
I
They're
can't.
garbage compared to
They're
it.
garbage, Jesse. They're garbage.
On me. They've grown on me.
Good for you. I've got things that grow on me, but I don't think that they're good. You know what I mean?
I don't know. Peter Sellers is the only guy that for me that could do Clouseau. I mean, they might be good. Hell, they even had Adam Arkin. Alan Arkin doing
Son of Pink Panther.
Huh?
Yeah, did he do Son of Pink Panther?
Yeah. So totally fucked up. Midnight Eye with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Midnight Eye says, do you have a place where you put the movie section? I'm done with movies for modern audiences and want to pay to watch good movies for a change. A place where I put the movie section? I'm not sure.
I think he's talking about a list of like the ones that I compile about the movies we've done.
Your recommendations.
Oh yeah, we should post that sometime.
Maybe pop them in the when I send them to you. Pop it into the community page and
yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. I'll go back and grab that stuff and put it out there. Hail to you, Midnight Eye. Always happy to make recommendations, dude. And yeah, I'm so sorry that modern movies suck, but there are still good ones that get made. They're just a lot harder to find, and they're much more scarce, you know. Richard Spake with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Richard. Says Mirror Mirror from 2012 with Lily Collins and Julia Roberts was the best Snow White film. It really showed the difference between Snow White and the Evil Queen. Interesting, Richard. I've never seen it. You know, for me, there is only Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. But I know there's many iterations, like Snow White and the Huntsman, or right, like with, you know, what's her name from the I'm trying to remember.
The Twilight gal.
Yeah, the Twilight gal.
The one that looks like she's just bored for getting paid millions of
exactly, yeah.
Yes.
With the one facial expression.
Oh my
She really
God.
does.
She drives me crazy whenever I see her do any interview.
Yeah, she's just bland. She's bland as I don't know. Anyway, Richard, I tell you what, man, if I come across that, I'll give it a look and let you know what I think, brother. And Paula Veter Gamer with a $20 super chat. Thank you. Paula Veter Gamer says, hail all. The current fallout of media is multilateral, but skipping the bulk companies use Twitter, flooded from Tumblr, as a free warped market survey guided by indoctrinated employees from the woke schools, part of a big game. No shit, really? Huh. Well, it's interesting, Paula Veter Gamer. Whatever has resulted in us getting fucked like this by Hollywood, I wish it had never happened. We need Doc Brown and a good DeLorean and a good lightning storm to go back and fix this shit. What do you say? Are y'all game if we can make that happen?
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
like to have that do. I'll go out there. Midnight Eye with a $10 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Says, when did bait and switch start? Where property namesake male becomes irrelevant, incompetent, or a joke in favor of a Mary Sue new character nobody's heard of becoming the hero. Was it Loki? Was it MOM?
Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was a man. Carol Danvers was Ms. Marvel. And that was the first high-profile big switcheroo they did, and tried to make her the bestest ever.
Really? You think that was the first?
I think in modern times, I mean, they've tried it in different things with, like, you know, kind of replay. But you know what? Even when they did in the old days, when they would make a female protagonist, like, you know, if you look at things like Shane Black had all those hits with Lethal Weapon, Last Boy Scout, and then he did The Long Kiss Goodnight with Gina Davis as the heroine. Clearly, she was just sort of like a cut and paste into the thing, but she added a feminine and motherly aspect to it, and really created a very female but very heroic character. It's only been, I think, with Captain Marvel, that was the most definitive part where they said, like, you know what, we're going to push down the men to elevate the women. Mm-hmm. And where it always used to be, they would rise up together and they would make each other stronger. And that's what we're missing now, because, like, it's like, well, you know, Saint Rachel Zegler said it herself, like, she don't need no man. She's going to do it all herself. She's going to be a leader. Okay. And I don't know anybody who's ever had a child whose life wasn't enriched the most by having a child. Nobody I know has regretted having a child. I've known people that regret not having children, but I've never known anyone who's regretted having the child.
Andy Masterson is right.
I don't know, man. I so far I have no regrets, but you know, we'll see.
Andy told me something once that was very depressing, and he said nobody ever regrets. You know, nobody ever says, "Wow, I really should have spent more time at work."
Yes,
you know, that really depressed me, because that's all I do.
Andy's
Captain. Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I hear you.
Captain Marvel is definitely a linchpin of that switchover, getting rid of her origin story with Marvel and making it Annette Bening in this little, like, that was just so bizarre. And that was the first marquee bad decision that was made that undermined the way they were looking at the source material, it demonstrated that they felt the source material needed to be adjusted, and it was the first guy who got thrown under the bus, Captain Marvel. And I have a lot of fond memories for Marvel and the concepts of Captain Marvel, the Marvel Universe. I've read a lot of those books, and that was very disappointing. And I definitely agree with him. It was a linchpin, a watershed moment for the new phases of the MCU.
And Nick Fury, who lost his eye with shrapnel in the original story.
From a cat!
Then he got snatched by a little pussycat.
Oh, it was fucking awful, dude. It was awful. I
Yeah, but I will say this: I almost lost my eye from pussy. So
No, it was a chlamydia.
I've been there, done that. Bought a T-shirt.
Was that a sharp thigh that suddenly?
Dude, I don't want to go into it.
All
Let's
right,
go to the
good.
next
Talk
super
about
chat,
it.
please. Next.
We don't want to know. I just want to say that, like, really, I think every kind of violation goes back to Ghostbusters 2016. You know,
Yes,
honestly,
I agree.
if you have seen you probably haven't seen the deleted scene from the extra, because like my Patreon members wanted me to do a commentary on the whole fucking movie. It was horrible. But they wanted the expanded version. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to punk out. I'm going to do it. They had a cameo with Bill Murray.
Yeah.
So you've seen that fucking thing.
The one where he says,
No, I've never seen that bullshit.
Okay, well, I'm
had
just
to
gonna
watch.
tell
Wait,
you,
you had to
hold
watch
on.
that shit?
No, but the thing is, this you gotta hear. So Bill Murray plays a guy that like comes to the Ghostbusters and is interviewing for a job with those women. Okay. And something happens, like a ghost appears or something, and Bill Murray falls out the window to his death. And then Leslie Jones looks out the window and says, "Oh, well, he wasn't really Ghostbuster material anyway." And yeah.
tone deaf.
That
Wait a
fucking,
second. I saw that video that you made. That was the very first video I saw of yours.
Wow. So you
That
already
was the
knew
moment. That was the moment when I knew that you would be my BFF, and we'd
Yeah.
have little heart necklaces that say Doomcock and Gary.
that. And I'm wearing mine right now.
You
But I
better
gotta
be.
tell you,
You
dude,
fucking better be.
God damn,
Also,
that
don't
pissed
forget
me
the
off so
Selfie is
bad, dude.
one of the ones that started it too.
Yeah.
That was just spitting right in our fucking eyes.
Yeah.
And
That's the straw, man. That's the straw that broke right there.
yep.
Well, the
Yep.
straw that broke for me was She-Hulk. I am such a huge She-Hulk fan. That show is so tone deaf. It is like reverse sexism. Like they're literally being sexist towards a great representation of females that they've just ruined. And they had an opportunity to make an evergreen Marvel TV show. Like I was in charge of that freaking show. They would have an evergreen popular sitcom for years to come. And instead they went,
Yeah. But they did give me a boost by mocking me on
They
the show,
did.
which made me very
God
happy.
bless them.
God bless them for that. That was very nice. Richard Spake with a $2 super chat is pointing out he meant live action version. So the Mirror movie with Julia Roberts, he meant it was the best live action Snow White, not the best Snow White. So thank you for that clarification, Richard. I was starting to worry about you, man, but I can live with that. Scott Hudson with a $10 super chat and a $20 super chat. Scott Hudson is the poet laureate of my channel, and he's got this poem here, rewritten the lyrics to with a smile in a song, and it goes like this. With a smile and a song, life was just a bright sunny day till woke Disney came our way and our hearts were hung. Now we are grumbling, but their woke shit isn't tumbling. Remember, we're the ones who will fill the world with sunshine. When we smile and we sing, everything is in tune and it's spring, and life flows along with a smile and a song. Thank you, Scott Hudson, for that little parody of the song.
Yeah,
And,
now the Disney actresses are hung.
And on that note, I think our work here is done. Let's go around and plug ourselves, gentlemen. Robert Wright, anything you would like to say?
Thanks for having me on. Guys, continue to tune in to Pop Culture Breakdown on Wednesday nights and join us on Friday nights for Friday Night Frolics. I'll be in the chat on that. I send some funny super chats. Doomcock does a great job of singing some amazing songs and does some incredible impersonations on Friday Night Frolics. So join us then.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that very much. Gary Ambrosia, please plug away your channel and your wife's charity.
Hello. Hi. So those of you who don't know, my lovely wife, Bunny Mom Ambrosia in the chat, she runs a animal rescue, which you can find at thebunnytrailrescue.com or .org. Maybe run a little traffic her way, and if you are so inclined, maybe throw her a buck or two, because the little critters, they got to eat. I have forgot to mention this. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. But I have produced a graphic novel called The Zombie Game for my dear friend and spectacular writer and actor, Dan Bridges. The link is in the chat. If you could check that out, if you're interested, maybe download a copy of it. It's not that expensive, and it's a cool book. Other than that, I do have a YouTube channel at Gary Ambrosia. Check it out. It's got lots of my cool Hollywood artifacts and things that I restore, and other little tidbits and funny sketches and skits that we do on this channel. But I want to thank everybody out there who chose to sit here and watch our show tonight. We know that you have a lot of options, many of which are all Disney, which we understand why you're here. But we love you, and thank you for being here, supporting this channel, watching us. And hail to the chat, hail to the wrenches. We love you, and we will see you next Wednesday. Stay angry.
Thank you, Gary. I certainly will, my friend. I really don't have a choice. Not these
That
days.
you don't.
We really don't. Jesse, please go ahead and plug your Kickstarter and anything else you would like to plug.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me. I feel like I know so many of you guys because I've been in the audience. I tend not to be active in chat, but I listen to your show all the time. So it was really, was so starstruck meeting you the other day. It's such an honor to meet you, Mr. Doomcock. It's unbelievable to be on your show. I am a hardcore geek. This is my tribe. You are my people. Thank you guys in the chat for being so kind to me. Thank you guys for helping us. There were some pledges made during the show to the King of Kings #1 on Kickstarter. Please, if you like comic books and you like comedy, I promise you there's something for everybody there. And if you were interested in anything that I had to say, I break this shit down twice a week on my podcast, Coolest Geek Alive. We just crossed like 2 million downloads and rising. It's a really great show. I am a professional writer. I've been working since I was a teenager in every aspect of writing. I know what I'm talking about. And I love to take these things apart and show you and give you the fodder that you need to rule everyone's school when you were talking about how modern films and TV are not cutting the mustard. Because they're not. And for as long as that remains to be the case, I will be supporting people like Mr. Victor Van Doomcock and anybody else who calls them on their bullshit. So join me over there on Coolest Geek Alive if you like to listen to podcasts. But thanks for having me, guys. Seriously, you were so wonderful. It was so fun to be here.
Thanks, Jesse. It was great to have you here, man. Good to meet you.
Yeah.
And we've got Andy Masterson. Andy, anything you would like to plug, my friend?
Life is very short, and you should enjoy it and collect the things you like, including custom-made action figures.
Wow.
And this, but we have a more serious topic to discuss, as our overlord Doomcock reminded us. We have something that is in our favor. Should you have an erection lasting more than 4 hours, watch Ghostbusters 2016. Problem solved. Check out Doomcock Show on Friday Night Frolics, where you'll be vastly entertained by the voice impressions, the parody songs, and the chat, which is always the most interactive on all of YouTube. And we will be back here next Wednesday night for Pop Culture Breakdown. And thank you to the chat for joining us here and letting us entertain you. Well, hopefully entertain you.
Thank you very much, Andy. And we got just a few super chats came in real fast. Matt G with a $1 super sticker of the Invisible Man. I thank you, Matt G. Hail to you, sir. Always great to see you. West Cagle with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Wes Cagle. Simply says thebunnytrailrescue.org. Thank you, West Cagle. Hail to you, sir. He always says, please send a shout out to the Bunny Trail Rescue, even on Friday Night Frolic. So thanks, Wes Cagle. You got
Thank
a friend
you, Wes
in him.
Cagle. You are you are a gentleman and a scholar.
Absolutely. He's a good guy. And Angry Yeti TV with a $2 super chat for Jesse. He says, Jesse, you were hilarious on Critics Court.
Oh, thanks, brother. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you, Angry Yeti TV. And thanks again to everybody who appeared tonight. Thanks to Douglas Nelson and, of course, to Mexican Iron Man. We love you guys. And hope to see you on Friday for Friday Night Frolics. And fuck Disney. All right. From the center of the earth, this is Victor Van Doomcock and my panel of pop culture pundits bidding you all, my friends. Oh, yes. Stay angry. Good night, everybody.